So it's from the gods, golden wings. The righteous sun, solar ra, different glow, additional love, knows depths of hell, million cells. The warfare of confusion. 186,000 religions. Schisms and isms. Is it in your Bible, really? I mean, he won't be up in ponds and walk with God. You can't run from the devil and walk with God. You can't run from the devil and walk with God. You can't run from the devil and walk with God. You can't run from the devil and walk with God. All right, peace. Your host, Dr. Alim El-Bey, and this is First World Order Radio. We are back in the building. No doubt. All right, we're going to get into tonight's discussion. Cosby pervert, Cayenne's raven, or Tantra yoga consciousness. All right, we're going to have to take it from the mundane back to the spiritual. We don't have a choice. All right. Of course, everyone heard about within this last week, heard about Cosby and the verdict. All right. And basically, we know that was going to happen for those who's been paying attention, that is, and Andrea Constant, that former Temple University employer who said that Cosby drugged her and molested her. I mean, when you get the 12 jurors and their interpretation of what took place, they believed it wholeheartedly, because these were some remarks that Cosby made in a deposition back in 2005 in a lawsuit, saying that he had given quaaludes to women in the efforts to have sex with them. Basically proved that he was guilty of drugging and sexually assaulting women. At least this is what has been stated, and this is what was said to the 12 jurors as they listened. Matter of fact, one of the 12 jurors who was one of the youngest, actually, he was the youngest, Snyder was his last name. And he said in an interview on ABC, Good Morning America, that Cosby admitted to giving quaaludes to women, young women, in order to have sex with them. So that, sealed Cosby's, coffin right there. Of course, I wasn't in the room with them, but based on Cosby's own jokes he made concerning drugging women, in a comedy skit, which I've seen. And, this is an 80-year-old entertainer, but I think Malcolm X probably said it best, is that when we begin to start putting comedians as our leaders, we start to, start to have problems. You know, um, if I'm not mistaken, the case took place in Philadelphia because Andrea Constant, she stated that Cosby did this in, drugged her and sexually assaulted her at his house, at his home in Philadelphia. You know, so Cosby's going to face up to 10 years for each count. There's 3 counts, and so that's 30 years that they're trying to give Bill Cosby. All right, 30 years. I mean, whew, that's quite a bit for an 80-year-old man. In other words, he'll die in prison. But they said that Cosby was cool, until the verdict came. And then the prosecutor asked the judge to revoke Cosby bail. And they said that he was a flight risk and he had a private plane. Cosby stood up and said, he doesn't have a plane, you asshole. so, Cosby was getting that in. Now, we all was wondering how in the hell was this even able to take place due to the fact that these people was coming 30 years, 20 years, 10 years later. What is Philadelphia's or Pennsylvania's state statute concerning, rape or sexual assault or sexual abuse or deviant sexual intercourse? It's 12 years. So I'm wondering, why were the other women, such as Janice Dickinson, even testifying when she stated that it happened in 1982? For her, wouldn't that be inadmissible because it was past the statute of limitation? Or did they just threw all 60 women into the pile and said everybody can testify? Obviously, that's what took place. Basically, we know that the jurors began deliberating last Wednesday around 11 a.m. and worked towards like 14 hours over the 2 days to reach the verdict. At least that's what has been written. And Cosby lawyer or attorney rather, Tom Massaro, stated that he definitely have plans to appeal. He stated that very strongly. And that basically he was disappointed by the verdict. And so, but once again, Cosby is the one in which that somewhat did this to himself. All right. So yes, we know that this was based on possibly, if we go into the conspiracy theory of it, we have to look at the fact that Cosby was trying to buy NBC years ago. All right. He was trying to purchase NBC years ago. All right. And you can get an article. It's called The Media Business and Bill Cosby Trying to Buy NBC from GE. All right. And this was back in 1992. All right. His son was killed in 1997. All right. And his daughter just died back in February of this year. Okay. So this is what we're talking about. So Bill Cosby back in the early 90s attempted to purchase NBC from the General Electric Company. And Norman Brokaw at the time was the chief executive of what is called the William Morrison Agency, and Cosby's personal agent for 30 years, And so when they offered this, to Robert C. Wright, the network's president at the time, Mr. Brokaw had to fly to New York, and Brokaw told Wright that that Bill Cosby definitely was interested in buying NBC, and Mr. Wright eventually said that NBC is not for sale. So for more than 2 years, NBC had been the subject at that time, from 1990 to 92, of continuous rumors that it was for sale, especially since its ratings has gone into a steep decline. All right. So, Mr. Brokaw and said that Cosby decided to basically fully pursue the deal for NBC. So he was trying, and right, he basically knew that, what from what we've seen. Now, this is deep because the analysts said that that NBC, if it was going to sell, would have been for about $4 billion, because General Electric paid $6.5 billion when they acquired the network parent company, the RCA Corporation, in 1986. And so General Electric has sold off RCA's electronic division and acquired several other television properties, including the cable channel CNBC. All right. So, think about how much money Cosby had to have had, in assets and net worth. Okay. So this is just what was going on. Now, me being a student of Baba Steve Coakley, right? Baba Steve Coakley told us specifically that his son was killed, all right, around the same time that he was still pursuing this. So his son was killed in 1997. So for 5 years, he was still attempting to pursue this deal with NBC, obviously. And so allegedly, some Russians killed Bill Cosby's son, Enos. Okay. That's what we find out, that his son Enos was killed allegedly by some Russians, and it was allegedly an attempted robbery. But Enos stopped on the side of the road. He had a flat tire. Now, we don't know how that tire got flat. All right. There was some sabotage with that, allegedly, from what Baba Steve Coakley stated. All right. So, this is what we're looking at here. And his son got killed in 1997, allegedly because of his attempt to purchase NBC. Still doing so, still trying to purchase NBC. All right. He didn't want to do, obviously, like Bob Johnson, start out, just doing a cable company and then trying to turn it into a $1 billion company when you can just buy it fully out. That's obviously what he was trying to do. All right. Because, Cosby's experience, his influence could have been valuable, to NBC. In politics, friends like United States Commerce Secretary at the time was Ron Brown, who ended up getting killed in an airplane crash, shot in the head with a 9mm or a 45 caliber. This was said by the generals, who investigated this assassination, and they somewhat the conspiracy theories link it back to Bill Clinton, because of the Whitewater scandal. at that time. You know, at the time, he had the influence of New York City Mayor David Dinkins, Reverend Jesse Jackson, of course, and many, many more, of course, Oprah. And, you know, this could have definitely been pulled off. And he for sure knew that he had enough in order to do it. All right. So what we find out is that um, there was, I guess you would say, several things taking place in which that was going on. I won't get into everything right here because I want to, delve into some other information. But we see that just in February, Bill Cosby's daughter died, allegedly from kidney failure. All right. And she was waiting for a kidney transplant. All right. This is right during the time of when they, all this time they've been prosecuting him. So, of course, kidneys metaphysically deals with fear. Okay. Metaphysically, it deals with fear. All right. Now, that's what was going on. Now, when we look at how these companies, 6 Jewish-owned companies control 96% of the Western media. And we have to talk about this. We talked about GE, they own Comcast, NBC, Universal Pictures, Focus Features. Then you have the News Corporation, which is Fox, Wall Street Journal, New York Post. You have Disney, which owns ABC, CSPN, Pixar, Miramax, and Marvel Studios. You have Viacom, which owns MTV, Nick Jr., BET, all right, CMT, and Paramount Pictures. And you have Time Warner, all right, which owns CNN, HBO, Time, Warner Brothers. And you have CBS, which owns Showtime, Smithsonian Channel, NFL.com, Jeopardy, and 60 Minutes. Okay. So, the powers, this is the power. We're talking about the powers of lies and deception and disinformation, between 6 companies. Essentially, that's Jewish ran, not Jew, but Jewish ran ish. You know what I'm saying? And so we know very well, that this is talking about the largest media conglomerates today. You know what I'm saying? Is basically Walt Disney's company. Whose chairman and CEO is Michael Eisner, who is a Jew. And everybody who go and study Disney, you will find out that every movie that you see with Disney has some type of sexual perversion in it. Okay, you'll see penises and women, naked, all types of sexual organs and body figures, of male and females in the cartoon scripts, hidden subtly behind or in the background in the animations. So this Disney empire is headed by a man who's described by media analysis as a control freak, including several TV production companies. All right, we're talking about Walt Disney Television, Touchstone Television, Beno Vesta Television, It owns cable networks with 14 million subscribers and two video production companies. And as for feature films, the Walt Disney Picture Group, headed by Joe Roth, also a Jew, or I should say is Jewish, because we are the Black Jews or the Moorish Jews, the Hebrews, Israelites. All right. We are the true followers of the Jehuti, who is known as Tahuti or Thoth, Hermes Trismegistus. So we're looking at including Touchstone Pictures, Hollywood Pictures, and Caravan Pictures. All right. Disney also owns, like I said, Miramax Films, which is ran by the Weinstein brothers, Jewish. When the Disney company was ran by the Gentiles Disney family prior to the takeover by Eisner in 1984, it epitomized wholesome family entertainment. Everybody remember that, back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. When the TV, we would sit in and watch it on Sunday nights. While they would still hold the rights to Snow White under Eisner, the company expanded into production of graphic sex and violence. In addition, it has 225 affiliate stations in the United States and is part owners of several European television companies. ABC's cable's subsidiary, ESPN, is headed by President and CEO Stephen Bornstein. Jewish ran again. All right. So this corporation also has a controlling share of Lifetime Television and an arts and entertainment network cable company. ABC Radio Network owns 11 AM and 10 FM stations. Again, in major companies such as major cities such as New York, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, and it has over 3,400 affiliates. Although primarily a telecommunication company, Capital Cities, ABC earns over $1 billion in publishing in the 90s. You can imagine what number they are up to now. It owns 7 daily newspapers, the Fairchild publication, the Silton publications, and Diversified Publication Group. Time Warner Incorporated is the second of the international media leviathans. Okay. Look at the chairman of the board and the CEO, Gerald Levin, also Jewish. No, and when I'm saying Jews, I'm talking about Zionists. All right. We're talking about Time Warner subsidiaries. HBO is the country's largest paid TV cable network. Warner Music is by far the world's largest record company with 50 labels. The biggest of which is the Warner Brothers Records, headed by Daniel Goldberg. Jewish. Stuart Hurst is the president of Warner Vision. Once again, Jewish. Warner's music video production unit, Goldberg and Hetch are Jewish, as I was saying. Warner Music was an early producer of gangster rap. They was involved with Interscope Records. Jerry Heller, Jewish, who was the head of Interscope Records. It helped popularize that genre, who graphic lyrics explicitly urge so-called blacks to commit violence. All right. Now, this is what the NAACP was talking about back in the days, trying to put these pieces of this puzzle together, but they really couldn't do it as much as they possibly could, because they couldn't give up what was really going on. They couldn't really give up what was really going on, back in the 90s. But Professor Griff came forward and he started to reveal this information. Okay? He started to reveal this information. Shout outs to brother Professor Griff, good brother. Also a student of Baba Steve Coakley. I'm also a former writer for Frontline Magazine. Big shout out to Marcus Klein, who was my editor and who was the one who put out the Frontline Magazine. And if y'all don't remember Frontline Magazine, y'all tripping. Y'all need to go back and get the old magazines. A matter of fact, he still have them online, at least he did a year or so ago. If I was y'all, I would check it out because we talking about some serious information in there. This is type of information that I'm talking about tonight that we actually used to put in the magazine. Okay. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did have enough money to get his own network, and do his own channel, no doubt about it. But once again, he wanted to purchase a network in which that was already up and running, not him having to start from, like the Johnsons did with BET. Because remember when BET came out, only thing they showed for almost 24 hours was just videos. Okay. That was it. Music videos. That was it. But anyway, in addition to cable and music, Time Warner was heavily involved in the production of feature films, as you know, the Warner Brothers studio, right? And publishing. We know that the Wachowski brothers was with the Warner Brother studio, and they're the ones who stole the manuscripts from Sophia Stewart for Matrix and for Terminator. Okay. So Time Warner Publishing Division editor-in-chief is Norman Pearlstein, Jewish, and is the largest magazine publisher in the country. Times, Sport Illustrated, People Magazine, Fortune Magazine. Okay. When Ted Turner, a so-called Gentile, made a bid to buy CBS in 1985, there was panic in the media boardrooms around the nation. Turner made a fortune in advertising, and then he had built a successful cable TV network. You know what I'm saying? What is it? TBS, and then he also built a news network, which was CNN. All right, and although Ted employed a number of Jewish people in key executive positions at CNN, he never was taking public position contrary to Jewish interests. He is a man with a large ego and a strong personality, and was regarded by Chairman William Paley, all right, who actually his name was Pelinsky, Jewish, and the other Jews at NBC as uncontrollable. So this was not allowed. He couldn't do it. They say he was a loose cannon and that he might, at some time in the future turn against them. Furthermore, the Jewish newsman, Daniel Scheurer, who had worked for Turner, publicly charged that his former boss held a personal dislike for Jews or Jewish people. Okay. So to block Turner's bid, CBS executors invited billionaire Jewish theater, hotel, insurance, and cigarette man, Lawrence Tisch, who launched a friendly takeover of the company. And from 1986 till 1995, Tisch was the chairman and the CEO of CBS, moving any threat of non-Jewish influence there. Okay, remember, we talking about the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, Zionists, those Zionists, and they using the Jewish people who claim to be Jewish, but we really know that they're Zionists into position of these particular companies at the head, right? So, so we find that, now even then, Turner attempted to acquire a major network, had been obscured, basically by Levin's Time Warner, who owned nearly 20% of CBS stock, and the veto power over major deals. Viacom Incorporated, headed by Sumner Redstone, born Murray Rothstein, Jewish, is the third largest mega media corporation in the country. All right. And we can't really say that this is a country, technically. All right. In the Union States, let's put it like that. With revenue over $10 billion a year. Viacom, which produces and distributes TV programs for the three largest networks, own 12 television stations and 12 radio stations. It produced feature films through Paramount Pictures, headed by Sherry Lanson, Jewish, and it published and its publishing division included Prentice Hall, Simon and Schuster, and Pocket Books. It distributed videos through over 4,000 at the time Blockbuster stores. Right back in the 90s, Viacom chief claimed to claim the fame, however, is that it was the world's largest provider of cable programming through its through Showtime, MTV, Nickelodeon, and other networks. Since 1989, MTV and Nickelodeon had acquired larger and larger shares of the younger television audience, and tapped into it with the perversions. And now we know that on the list, of course, is Rupert Murdoch, News Corporate, who owns Fox Television and 20th Century Fox Film. Right, Murdoch is allegedly a Gentile, but Peter Cherman, who heads Murdoch's film studio and also oversees his TV production, is Jewish. All right, you have Sony Corporation, whose subsidiary is Sony Corporation in America, is ran by Michael Sheffiloff, once again Jewish. Alan Levins, once again Jewish, heads Sony Pictures division. All right, so when Michael Jackson began to start owning 51% of Sony, oh, hell no. It was time to get him off the scene. Or Prince, when he began to start owning his own masters of his own music, it was time for Warner Brothers or Warner to music company to put him out. All right. So this is what we're seeing here. Most of the television and music production companies that was not owned by the largest corporations were still and are controlled by Jewish people. For example, New World Entertainment, proclaimed by One Media Analysis, the premier independent TV program producer in the United States, is owned by Randall Perlman, Jewish. better known for the smaller media, DreamWorks, as it was. DreamWorks is now blown up. It was just formed in 1994. And we know that part of that was Steven Spielberg, Jewish. All right. Former Disney picture chairman Jeffrey Katzenberg, Jewish. Or the recording industry's mogul David Geffen, Jewish. The company produced music, movies, animated films, television programs, and like I said, music or recorded music. So two larger production companies, MCA and Universal Pictures, are owned by Seagram Company. The president and the CEO of Seagram and the liquor giant is Edgar Bronfman Jr., right, who is also president of the World Jewish Congress. And during this time period in the 90s, also, he was Minister Farrakhan went to Edgar Bronfman. Now I can't tell you what was said among them, but go back and do your research on that. It is well known that the Jews or the Jewish people had controlled the production and distribution of film since the inception of the movie industry in the early decades of the 20th century. So none of this is really new. They've been controlling it. This is still as it is today. Film production by just the 5 largest motion picture companies mentioned above, which is Disney, Warner Brothers, Sony, Paramount, which is Viacom, and Universal, which is Seagram, accounts for 74% of the total box office receipts for the first for damn near every year, and higher now. The big 3 in television network broadcasting used to be ABC, CBS, and NBC. With the consolidation of the media empire, these 3 are no longer independent entities. While they are independent, however, each was controlled by Jewish people since its inception. So ABC by Leonard Goldenson, Jewish. CBS first by William Paley, Jewish, and then by Lawrence Tisch, and NBC by David Sarnoff, Jewish, and then by his son Robert. So over a period of several decades, these networks was staffed from the top to the bottom with Jewish people, Zionists. And essentially, Jewishness of the network television did not change with the networks and was absorbed by other corporations. The Jewish presence in the television news remained particularly strong today. Right? ABC is part of Eisner's Disney Company, and the executive producer of ABC's programmers are all Jewish people. Victor Norfeld, Bob Richblum, right, which is for Good Morning America. Rick Kaplan, World News Tonight. CBS was recently purchased by Westinghouse. Westinghouse Electrical Corporation. Nevertheless, the man appointed by Lawrence Tisch, Eric Ober, remain president of the CBS, and Ober is a Jewish. All right. At NBC, now which was owned by General Electric, NBC News president Andrew Lack, Jewish, as are the executive producers, Jeff Zucker, Today, Jeff Granick, NBC Nightly News, Neil Shapiro, Dateline. Okay, so the print media, after television news, daily newspapers are the most influential information medium in America. So 60 million of those that are sold are presumably read each day. These millions are divided among some 1,500 different publications. One might conclude that the sheer number of different newspapers across America would provide a safeguard against Jewish control and distortion. However, this is not the case. This is less independence, less competition, and much less representation of our interests than a casual observer would think, right? What we see today, most local newspapers are owned by a rather small number of large companies controlled by executives who live and work hundreds or even thousands of miles away. The fact is that only about 25% of the country's 1,500 papers are independently owned. The rest belong to multi news chains, and only a handful are large enough to maintain independent research and staff outside their own communities. And this is why when you see the various news channels, they have the same script. They have the same script, saying the exact same thing. This has been proven. You can see the video on YouTube. All right. For example, the News House owns 26 daily newspapers, including several large and important ones, such as the Cleveland Plain Dealer, the Newark Star Ledger, and the New Orleans Times, the nation's largest trade book publication conglomerates, Random House with all its subsidiaries. Newhouse Broadcasting consists of 12 television broadcasting stations and 87 cable TV stations or systems, including some of the states, Union States' largest cable companies. Okay, the Sunday supplement parade with a circulation of more than 22 million copies per week, with some 24 major magazines, including the New Yorker, Vogue, Mademoiselle, Glamour, Vanity Fair, Brides, Gentleman Quarterly, Self, House and Garden, and all the other magazines of the wholly owned Cardin Ness Group, right? Look up the Cardin Ness Group, right? Jewish ran, right? This Jewish media empire was founded by the late Samuel Newhouse, an immigrant from Russia. Okay. All right. So, since the beginning of the 20th century, when Jewish power was consolidated in America, became a dominant economic force. This is what Ford was talking about. This is where you have the book in which that came out, in which that Ford push was the Elders of Zion, which was actually the template for what we now know as the so-called Illuminati. Okay. Right. As we know that Weissef was Jewish, and he was a paid agent for the Rothschilds, and he infiltrated the priesthood of the Catholic Church as the Jesuits. And allegedly, he came here to America and killed the real Washington, the so-called first president, and took his place. This is told to us by the Empress Verdiasi Gaston Alim El-Bey. It was also told to us by Collins. All right. All right. So you can read his book, Collins' book, on that information, as a matter of fact. All right. So this is what we're looking at here, is a consolidation of just 6 networks, which are in fact Jewish media controlled in America, or as we would say in the United States, or snakes. All right. So these are the 6 medias, but there's 7, as I was making mention of. Normally, there's about 7 Jewish United States families that controls most of that media, of the U.S. media. Okay, and nowadays, like I said, we had individuals, Gerald Levin, CEO and director of AOL, Time Warner, Michael Eisner, chairman and CEO of Walt Disney's company, Edgar Bronfman Sr., chairman of Seagram Company Ltd., Edgar Bronfman Jr., president and CEO of Seagram Company Ltd., and head of Universal Studio, Sumner Redstone's chairman and CEO of Viacom, which now owns BET. That's who the Johnsons sold it to, was Viacom. In other words, Sumner Redstone. All right. You have Dennis Damerman, who's the vice chairman of General Electric. You have Peter Charnan, president and COO of the News Corporation Limited. So those 7 Jewish men collectively control ABC, NBC, CBS, the Turner Broadcasting Network, CNN, MTV, Universal Studios, MCA Records, Geffen Records, DGC Records, PRP Records, Rising Tide Records, Curve Universal Records, and Interscope Records. All right. So this is what we're talking about, is a takeover. Who owns the media? I just told you. All right. All right. I just told you. So this is talking about this Zionist takeover. Right. That's what we're talking about. All right. So we're talking about the protocols of the elders of Zion. That's the plot. This is actually mentioned in the book. Get the manual, the plot. The protocols of the elders of Zion. And it tells you about the Zionists and how they're going to take it over. All right. Converts, the Ashkenazims, the 13th tribe. Get author Carpenter. He tells you that you had a convert tribe coming from out of Russia who converted into Judaism. This is why they call themselves Jewish, not Jews, technically. They're not Hebrews. They don't have L on the end of their names like the Moors do. They're Berg, Stein, Steen, Golden, so forth, Silverman, so forth and so on. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. All right, so we just want to talk about that. That is something in which that we wanted to get into your heads. That's what you're dealing with. On Bill Cosby and what they did to him. So Enos, his son, in 1997, and this is the reason why he couldn't buy NBC, because this is Jewish rent. That's my point. So Bill Cosby could not get NBC because it was a manipulation of Jewish families, Zionists, who owned and wanted to continue to control the media. And so Bill Cosby coming on, trying to do, even though he might have been devious and might have been perverted, he was still trying to do positive things, at least through the television, which he understood was the largest mind control agent on the planet. And if he could have been able to get his hands on that, he would have been able to help change some of the problems. This is the same thing that obviously Michael Jackson believed when he became 51% owner of Sony, Sony Records. He was able to, not only did he have the Beatles collection, he had Elvis collection. Matter of fact, that's why he married Elvis' daughter. All right, Priscilla Presley. Not Priscilla Presley. I can't remember his daughter's name right now. But their daughter name, I should say, because I think Priscilla was his wife. But he married Elvis' daughter, and so he owned Elvis collection too, along with, even now they said that before his passing, that the music from Jay-Z and Beyonce, he was getting paid from that because he owned 51% of Sony. All right. He was able to give back Little Richard his masters, and so forth and so on. We can go on and on. As a matter of fact, Dick Gregory goes into this information, and Baba Steve Coakley was trained and taught by Dick Gregory in conspiracy theories. All right? Some of this stuff is real. So when we say conspiracy theory, we're not saying that is just something in which that you might believe. We're talking about actually conspiracy facts. And conspiracy means to breathe together. There were people who was conspiring, breathing together to make this possible, to make this happen, positive and or negative. All right? And you're talking about these Zionists, they deal with Kabbalistic teachings. All right? And if you go and do your biblical research, the Ashkenazim, known as the Hasidim, Kabbalistic teachings, right? Even some of the Hasidim do not agree with the Zionists, all right? Some of the ones in Brooklyn and around New York do not agree with the Zionists that's there and that have taken over the land, in what is now called Israel from the Palestine. But even the Palestinians are not the original people in that land. We talk about that area which sits right above Africa was once part of Africa. And it was melanated people in those areas. You had the so-called Canaanites or the Phoenicians that was there, right, in that area. All right, so this is what we wanted to break down, build upon, get this science up in here tonight. And hopefully, y'all can, relate to some of what the information that we're talking about. The audio is whack, so y'all can't hear me very well. Wow, that's deep. I should have known. Now when I'm talking on this subject anyway, I am the universe. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm Unc Ujad Sinab. To you also, brother. All right. Life, health, to you also. So let's look at why they had to prosecute Bill Cosby in this way. All right. Like I said, they couldn't allow for him to own the company. It was a monopoly to keep the Gentiles out. This is even said within the protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion that do not allow them to come in. All right. So, so this is what really this all stems from. Right. So Bill Cosby had a big legacy, you know what I'm saying, which would be now forever tarnished. All right. Right. That's what it is. It would be forever tarnished because of what has taken place. But this is why you have to, try to be pristine, or at least state your faults in the public, instead of hiding them. Okay. You try to hide your faults, then this is what can happen. All right. So that's one of the keys. You don't want to hide the faults. You just simply come out and look, I did this, did that, whatever the case is, and move on. If you say it, it's just like the movie 8 Mile. If you remember the scene, all right, if you remember the scene when Rabbit, who was played by What's his name? What's the rapper name? Little white boy, Eminem. If you remember him, all right. You had the dude who sounded like Busta Rhymes. You had the other dude, you know what I'm saying, who sounded like Q-Tip. You know what I'm saying? And they all were saying the same thing, that he was trailer park trash. His mom, you know what I'm saying, lived in the trailer, so forth and so on. So he was able to come back and say, yeah, my mom lived in the trailer. Yeah, I'm trailer park trash, and so forth and so on. And he was able to and he won the damn battle. And he said, yo, because I know everything you're going to say, because this fool over here said it already. So let me say it all before you can even get to it, and you can't even diss me. You see? So that's really one of the keys in which that cats got to remember. You know what I mean? And before they get hemmed up in these types of ordeals. You know, and that's what's really going on. You know? Yeah, yeah. Oh, who? Oh, and Zabzi? Oh, word. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you. Thank you. What I'm talking, thank you. All right. So, you know, this is what we got to look at here. All right. Just admit your faults, you know, before shit can get out of hand like this. You know, I mean, that's what, you know, Cosby somewhat did it, you know, through his comedy act. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's he did. All right. So you just have to go back and look at these types of things. Do I think it was a setup? Put it this way. I think that, as my wife said, that if his wife was in the room, you know, during those meetings, these types of things would not have happened. Okay. Because remember, old girl, Andrea Constant, she said that it happened in the home. Okay. So these are just some of the things, you know, people got to talk, you know, and of course, you in this type of field, you know, gigantic star, hundreds and millions of dollars, you know, Bill Cosby been doing it for a shoot over 50 years. So he could have acquired, you know, damn near $1 billion, you know, because he ran the 80s. Okay. He ran the 80s. There's no doubt about it. Okay. So, you know, that's what we had to say about the situation. Now with Kanye West, you know, it is said that he said what specifically? Huh? What did Kanye West say? He basically said that not that we should get over slavery, but he basically said what?
That it was so many of us that, you know, how were we allowed to perpetuate slavery?
Exactly.
Which
Exactly.
I think how we were able to be, so I don't think it was everybody, because I know that our ancestors owned over 300 acres of land. So I know it wasn't everybody. Y'all see, we got that fixed. But anyway, so if you had land, if you owned, then how could you have been a slave? And I know our family, like I said, had 300 acres of land.
Right, because slaves or what we refer to as property could not own property. So there's no way. And I'm sorry, there was no damn grants and there was no damn 40 acres of the mule. Right? Because the 40 acres of mule was just in South Carolina. All right. And that was put forth by a general. All right. So that's what we're looking at. So every so-called black person were not in slavery or did not come through slavery. All right. The vast amount of us was never slaves. Okay. All right. That's just what it is. And then how we know this is because you had the Seminole Wars, you had the Gullah Geechee Wars, and you had the Seminole Wars. These three wars, which is
but also
excuse me, no. Rebellion. Yeah, but that was failed. I'm talking about the ones that we won. We had the Seminole Wars, the Yamasee or Yamasee Wars, and the Gullah Geechee Wars. These three wars, we fought the European for 250 goddamn years, and we never lost. Okay? So that means that the vast amount of these brothers and sisters that was part of these so-called Moorish or black tribes were never enslaved, and they was in the South.
So that's what Kanye West is talking about. When you have a certain amount of money, you're not getting fed lies, and neither are your children.
Right. And it's not that we have a certain amount of money, it's just the fact that we've traveled. You know what I'm saying? We've gone to various places. You know what I'm saying? One thing I can't agree with Seti about, you know, most Negroes is only going around the corner.
He said, I ain't finna listen to nobody who ain't been nowhere but round the corner.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I can't agree with Seti about. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the truth of the matter.
Now, all that division and divisiveness.
Right. Now, all this other shit that he's talking about with the Moors, y'all can go see Canaanland Moors.
Oh,
and
that was a good video.
They crush
all of that foolishness.
Seti and young Pharaoh Allah, all right, with their opinions, all right, no real scholarship whatsoever, and they use the same people that we talked about when I debated Seti back in almost 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? When I didn't even have these gray hairs right here in this chinny chin chin. You know what I'm saying? When I debated him, we broke down then that Dr. Ben in his Cultural Genocide book made many references to the Moors and how it was an honorable name, all right? And then he even, there's even clips, which you'll see in the Canaanland Moors video of Seti and young Pharaoh get shut down by the Moors. That's the name of the title. So go and get that title, you know, watch that video, you know what I'm saying? And just sit there and make sure that you write your notes so that you would never be confused again, all right? That is the best video I've seen in which that crushes every naysayer when it comes to this Moorish information. All right. And if you don't think so, go and watch it and you come back and you try to tell me what's what. All right. So this is what really Kanye West is talking about, is that we should have to stop with this victimization mentality. That's the mental change that is on our minds. You know, always thinking, oh, woe me. Oh, we was in slavery. Oh, and that caused you not to do shit with your life. All right, except have that mentality. You know what I'm saying? I hate for somebody to have that mentality till they 90 damn years old and then just croak. You know what I'm saying? It's bad enough that you wait for white Jesus, okay? Or white Muhammad, or whatever whiteness that you're waiting for. That's sad enough, let alone you putting yourself in mental bondage, you know, with this post traumatic syndrome that you put yourself in. You know what I'm saying? And yes, we've suffered racism, we suffered bias, we suffered prejudice. Of course, no doubt about it. We're the darkest people on the planet. You know what I'm saying? We're the most melanated people on the planet. You know? So yes, we're going to suffer. But remember also that we are the most dominant people on the planet. Genetically strongest on the planet. All right? The most brilliant on the planet. All right? So, and the most vast historical, you know, on the planet. We have the most vast amount of information and knowledge on the planet. It's in our genes, your genetic database, your ancestral database. All right. So when we're talking about that, you know, you got to think about certain questions in which that, you know, has to be brought up. You know, what happened to all the slave ships? I mean, slavery was just, as they say, about 150 some odd years ago. You can't tell me that a wooden ship wouldn't survive 150 years? Shit. Hell, we got we staying in we live in a house now that's the wood is from 1935. Okay. Shit. This house is from the 1800s. That's still built. That's on right here in this city. You know what I'm saying? How was the captain able to feed himself, his henchmen, 400 Africans on the, 200 to 500 Africans on the bottom of the boat of the ship? Where was the food and the water stored during the 3 to 4 month voyage? Urine and feces is toxin. So during the 3 to 4 month voyage, how did the captain and the crew prevent disease from spreading to them? You know what I'm saying? Humans need motion. Our heart pumps the blood, but it doesn't pump all the fluids in our body. So we have to move. This is what your lymphatic system is for. So our fluids are circulating. If we do not, if we don't move, they don't circulate as well, especially your lymphatic system. You know what I'm saying? Which is controlled by your thymus gland, which sits right above the heart chakra. All right. During the 3 to 4 month voyage, did they have the urine and have a urine or feces removal process for the 200 to 500 so-called POWs or so-called slaves? What forest was used to build the massive ships that held 200 to 500 people? You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about these are questions in which that has never been answered in any slave book that I've ever read. And I've read them. Best believe that. You know what I'm saying? How long did it take for them to build massive ships? Where are the blueprints at? How many nations in West and Central Africa remember that the slave trade took place without the education from European missionaries? If Africa is so rich in resources, what exactly did African traders get in return for selling 21 million people? Okay. This is what I'm saying. According to Paul L. Williams, at the time of the ratification of the Constitution in 1788, there were less than 50,000 slaves in America, and some of them were white, so-called indentured servants. All right, that's what we're saying. Get the book White Cargo, right? By Michael. I can't remember his last name right now, but get the White Cargo. All right. See, they call themselves indentured servants. They called us slaves. That shit was reverse. They was the slaves because the word slave comes from the word Slav or Slavic, as in Yugoslavia. Europeans, Albions. We was the indentured servants because that concept comes from out of the Old Testament, which is talking about the Hebrews. And you have that story of the story of in the Old Testament of the men working, for 7 years for a family in order to marry the daughter. So he had to work 7 years if he didn't have a dowry. He had to work for the family 7 years in order to even marry. This is Rachel and Leah, if I'm not mistaken, the two sisters. But this is what was talked about. I think it was Jacob, right? Or whatever the case. Well, I can't remember right now. Old Testament, you know what the story is. Go and check it out. All right. So, this is what we really talking about. This is the miseducation of a Negro, and this is the problem, and as Carter G. Woodson said, if a race has no history, it has no worthwhile traditions, it becomes a neglectable force or factor, I should say, in the thought of the world, and it stands in danger of being exterminated. All right. So your history has been exterminated, and the only thing we're trying to do is bring it back to you. But you believe that the Albion brought every last single one of us over here. But yet you have the stories of the Olmecs 5,000 years ago. You have the stories of the Folsom 75,000 years ago. You have the story of the Washita 100,000 years ago. You have the story of the Twa 2 million years ago, right here in the Western Hemisphere. So those who do not treat you right cannot be expected to teach you right. Elijah Muhammad said that. So why are we around here still bickering about this? After years of not being able to read due to slavery, the only people who think so-called black people are not aboriginal and indigenous to America are the so-called black people, Moors. Y'all don't believe that. Okay? So this is a problem. You know, this is why I'm always talking about get the book, Forbidden Archaeology. When you read in history, there's additional names and empires of the Moors, such as the Almoravids, the Lantians, the Aztecs, the Carthaginians, the Etruscans, the Hessians, the Inca, the Mayan, the Olmec, the Toltec, the Aztec, right? The Iroquois, the Algonquin, the Lemurian, the Moabite, the Ottoman Empire, the Phoenicians, which are the Canaanites, the Powhatan, the Persians, the Saracens, the Sumerians, the Turks, the British Empire, Moorish Empire. Now, the British is the Brutish Empire, which you talking about the Yorkshire Moors, which they don't want to tell you about. The Moorish Empire, the Spanish Empire, the French Empire, the Holy Roman Empire. These are Moors. This is shown through the so-called black nobility. All right? So as long as you keep believing this BS, you know that all of us was brought here when we have a plethora of information proving that the vast majority of us was already here. The Empress said over 85% of our genetic line was already here. It goes as high as even 98%. But there was already millions of us already here in the Americas. Right? Go and check out on Richard Nave. All right? Go and check out Richard Nave. Matter of fact, let's see what's going on here. Let's see what's going on. Cause we're gonna get this. Right? There we go. Bam. I don't know why it's not on.
We want to share the screen, family.
All right,
okay,
there we go.
Can y'all see it?
All right, so
okay,
let's look. The first Americans. All right, this is said by the BBC News. All right, Richard Naves, a British forensic scientist, and Walter Neves, a Brazilian anthropologist. These are the three people that are speaking here in this regard. All right, the BBC says this, that the Brazilians find shows that the New World was discovered tens of thousands of years earlier than previously believed, certainly well before the time of the American Indians. That means before they even came across the Bering Strait, as they claim. Prehistoric skulls was found buried in in layers of soil in Brazilian caves. They are the oldest skulls of America. Lucia belonged to a race found historically along the rim of the Indian Ocean in the islands of South Asia, in East Africa, and the Australia and Malaysia. Wow. Now come down. Let's see what Richard Nave, the British forensic scientist this is him to the right. To the left here at the University of Manchester in England. He said, that to me is a Negro face, a Negroid face. It has all the features that we would associate with a Negroid face. And the proportion of the face doesn't say anything about it being a Mongolian, a Mongoloid. So think about it. You keep seeing all these Hollywood pictures of Mongoloids as they keep showing you being the so-called Native American, being the American Indian, being the Indians. But they failed to tell you that before the American Indians or the so-called Indians came, who are the Mongoloids, which is clearly that, because you can see how many of the Western so-called Indians look. They're not melanated, or they're not so-called Moorish or more in their features. Okay? They're not. So we was here before them. So there's no way that the European can say that the American Indians they own this land and they took the land from them when we was already here, as they even said in the BBC News, hundreds of thousands of years before the so-called American Indians. God damn. See, this is what we're trying to put in your heads. All right? What Walter Neves say? The first reaction was not to believe it. But as the results repeated so many times, and the results is exactly the same thing, the skulls are very similar to the Australian Aborigines and Africans, and no similarities at all with the Mongoloids in Asia, nor with American Indians. So they are our children. They are our children. They said this skull dates back to over 12,000 years ago. It's a reconstruction from a face of a skull found in Brazil, and she looks similar to Cicely Tyson. The report by Dr. Bert Lee, Ellie, excuse me, a biological professor in the University College of Arts and Science, and colleagues at the University of Massachusetts and Maryland, reveals that fewer than 10% of the African American mitochondrial DNA sequence that they were analyzed can be matched to mitochondrial DNA from one single African ethnic. You see, because I just told you that 12,000 years ago, Lucia here to the left, she was white. Islands of South Asia, in East Africa, and in Australia and Malaysia. She had those features, but she was highly melanated. See, this is the Negro that should be brought up on charges for deceiving the people. He made you African Americans in 1988. Okay? You can't be African Americans, because they tell you that Scipio Africanus, who we knew was a so-called Roman general who defeated Hannibal in the Second Punic Wars, this is where the name Africanus allegedly comes from. However, that's not the case. What we find out really is that his name was Scipio Publius, and you can look this up, even on Wikipedia. And he gained the name Africanus as a nickname for his defeat of Hannibal. All right, and when you go to ancient Egypt, you find the word Afura, Afuraka. It's on the walls. Right? Amerigo Vespucci. Amerigo was not his name. His name was Alberto. His name was Alberto Vespucci, of Vespucius. So America was not named after him. This is false. All right, his name was Alberto. He gained the name Amerigo because he met the people and asked them what was the name of this place. And they said, Amaru. Amaru. Amaru becomes the same as the Inca king of Amaru. Okay? You don't believe me? Go and get the book, The Name of America. Okay? It breaks it down. Right here. The most illustrious national name of America was therefore sacred to our people, written in their pictorial writings by a snake crossing a straight line, and called what? Amaru, the great sun, which began to mean anything sacred at a later period. And when an American went nearer to any of the temples than the law permitted, the police said, Amaruk, stop, don't do that. For these were the temples of their kings, who were also the spiritual chief. And this was the name given to the southern continent, which first appeared in 1541 on the map of Gerard Mercator, right? Mercator, yes, a subject of Charles V, by whom he was employed to make charts, and a pupil of Eresius, whom he consulted, right? This is from another book, right? It says Humboldt Relations Historic, all right, volume 1, page 618. One of the various ways in which that the name ancient name of America was written is that the natives who had no alphabet, and that's not true. And they are finding out they had alphabets. But see, this is what they're saying. This is the problem. Wrote pictures of their ideas as well. In other words, they wrote pictures. In other words, they had hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics were their alphabet. So what the hell are they talking about? But see, this is the contradictions. You reading and not comprehending what the hell they're saying. They're trying to make you illiterate. And so becoming origin of our alphabet, which is only an abbreviated form of the original pictures. Right? When the Native Americans wrote the sacred word Amaru, he drew a cross, and so did the Amaras for their name, and this was the sign for Ka, or land, was Amaru Ka. So Ka means land. All right? Just like Ka means spirit. The breath holds together this land, you earthlings, after the earth, the land. That's what's going on. All right? So, on all continents, because according to this book, only you go and get, because there's a problem with y'all not getting this information. The Forbidden Archaeology, The Hidden History of the Human Race by Michael Cremore and Richard L. Thompson. He tells you that we've been on this planet at least 2.8 billion years. All right? These are the Kirk drops, or what was called a Kirk drop spheres that we made that was blown out of rock dating back to 2.8 billion years ago. They found over 200 of them in South Africa. Then they found all types of stuff here in the Americas dating back to 600 million years ago. 600 million years ago. Okay? 600 million years ago. And what it was a bell-shaped vase. Okay? And this bell-shaped vase, you get the book, Hidden History of the Human Race by Michael Cremore and Richard L. Thompson. Right? And this is stuff in which that they speak about, which been hidden. The Smithsonian hid this information that we're talking about. So when we talk about it, people don't want to believe it. You know what I'm saying? You know, but it was a bell-shaped vessel that was blown out of the rocks. Right? And this bell-shaped vessel dated back to 600 million years ago, right in what we now call Meeting Hill Rock in Dorchester, Massachusetts. Okay, in Antelope Springs, Utah, prints of a man wearing shoes in which that the left foot has trodden on a troglodyte, a creature of 440 million years ago. So we was wearing shoes 440 million years ago. So what's this nonsense talking about? We was running around in the jungle. And this is during the time of the dinosaurs. St. Louis, Missouri, footprints in Permian rock dated back to 200 million years ago. Bira, Kentucky, footprints in Pennsylvania rock 200 million years ago. Persia County in Nevada, a shoe print showing evidence of a well-cut and double-stitched leather sole in Triassic limestone 195 million years ago. Glen Rock, Texas, footprints in Cretaceous rock dated back to 70 million years ago. Fisher Canyon, Nevada, a shoe print in a clear trace of strong thread in a coal seam dating back to 12 million years ago. We've been wearing shoes for quite some time. We also went barefooted. But these have been found, and the various archaeologists and anthropologists and others have hid these facts from you. They have hid these facts from you. Okay? Go here to, in 1989 edition of a magazine called Lucifer. This is what it says. This is published by the Occult Promoting Theosophical Society. The word America he said that the supreme god of the Mayan culture. Now, who are the Mayans? That's the Olmec of the Mayans. This is when they say Mayan in this way, they talking about the Olmecs. Culture of Central America, known as Quetzalcoatl, was also Guatamas, was also Kukulkan. Elsewhere was known in Peru as Amaru. Amaru's territory was known as Amaruca, the land of Amaru, the land of the shining serpent. Right? That's what it means. That's what it means. The chief god of the Mayan Indians in Central America was Quetzalcoatl, Kukulkan, known the plumed serpent, feather serpent. In Peru, this god was called Amaru, and the territory was known as Amaruca. This is the area that they're talking about right here. It's the similarities. Over and over again. I had, of course, heard the Mayan royalty, which is the Olmecs, and the Egyptian elite class had long heads. Dr. Terry Wheeler. Right? So, Eschu. This is Eschu here. Cone head with Paracas, Peru. Extra-dimensional race of beings worshipped by the people of Africa, pre-Columbians, and by practitioners of voodoo. Right, the black gods of the American Southwest. Right, you had Kokopele, the great hunter. He was known as fertility god and the hunter among the Hopis and Zuni people of the American Southwest. As the spirit of fertility, he is seen as responsible for introducing corn agriculture to the various people across the Americas. Kokopele was first found in Ashkenazi rock carvings, but he also appeared in the Mississippian artifacts. Throughout South America, he is known as Ikoko. He is believed to descend from the Mayan Ichua. Kokopele is identified as the Western Terwa people god Nepokwe, and great hunter who is described as a big black man. Okay, so this is what we have to understand. Get the book, The Lost Cities of Ancient Lemuria and the Pacific. Get the book, 100 Amazing Facts About the Negroes with Complete Proof. Right? Get the book, Children of Mu by James Churchward. Right? Get these books. These books help you to understand what is really going on here, that we was already here. All right? So, so that's what we want to get through your heads. All right. And the last part for tonight's discussion.
Before we take the questions.
What's some of the questions? Let me go to that right quick. We got some questions.
I heard the 5G waves were shutting down people's pacemakers. What do you think?
Yeah, that's true. The 5G waves is wave interference. Just like at night, we suggest that you cut off your Wi-Fi so that you can sleep. Otherwise, there's disruptions with you in the dream world. You communicating with your ancestors and receiving those messages that you need in your everyday life so that you can survive and be a force upon this planet, to be a natural, a force of nature, a nature.
Please, no disrespect, but what about Cape Coast in Ghana? They have a door of no return.
Yeah, I didn't say that we didn't come on ships from Africa. Understand what we're saying. We're saying that the vast majority of our ancestry was already here. That's all we're saying. All right. According to Wikipedia, about 400,000 did come to America on ships, but we already had tens of millions of our people already here. So if 400,000 people mix in with tens of millions of other people that was already here, That means that they was absorbed into the population. But do that make us Africans? No, that means that we would be American Africans if that is the case, not the other way around, wouldn't it? Because we was already here before the European came 400 years ago, and we was here before the European came on the planet 6,000 years ago. We was already here because think about it, the Olmecs was already here over 5,000 years ago, which means that they was already here before the Europeans even came on the planet. All right, the Europeans tell you themselves that they only go back to about, in the current form that they're in right now, date back to about 6,000 to 8,000 years. But we have documented proof that the Olmecs was already here over 5,000 years ago, over 5,000 years ago. As a matter of fact, we know that they was here over 10,000 years ago before the last ice age. This is what we know. This is the proof of the matter. Remember, we just showed you the skull of Lucia, which dates back to 12,000 years ago. That is 6,000 years before the European even got here. We was already in the Western Hemisphere. So who the fuck is he to determine your ancestry when you was already here? Think about this, y'all. So I don't give a fuck about a doorway from 400 years ago when I got ancestry that dates back thousands and hundreds and thousands and millions of years right here in the Western Hemisphere. We have to stop. We have to start analyzing. We have to start thinking. Come on. Come on. It's not that hard. I just showed you a little 10-minute exercise of the information. 10-minute exercise. I just went through the slide presentation. 10 minutes. I didn't even get into the full presentation. As you've seen, I have thousands of slides. You're looking at 2,500 slides. And I went through 10 minutes of 2,500 slides and explained to you in 10 minutes who you are and what Kanye West was talking about. But if you just want to identify with the African perspective, then that's fine. I'm not saying that we're not cousins. I'm not saying that we don't have African blood. I'm simply telling you that we was already here. And either we was already here after the continents broke apart. I'm telling you also that we was already here when the continents were together. Why? Because, once again, based on the book Hidden History of the Human Race and the other book Forbidden Archaeology by Michael Creedmoor and Richard L. Thompson, it states that we was already here 600 million years ago. 600 million years ago. 600 million. In Dorchester, Massachusetts. Okay.
Even though the Europeans' children, especially the rich ones, will kill their parents, and they show a brutality that is ruthless, it seems that the European is superior. Why has he accomplished so much if we are supposed to be gods?
He is superior in mind control. All right, that's because he have think tanks. You so-called Negroes refuse to come together in order to form your own think tank. We was given think tank classes last year. We was trying to form think tanks. People didn't take it serious. They got jobs. They got other shit that they got to do in their life. But the European got think tanks. He analyzed you.
That's true. He understands that his skin burns in the sun.
Right.
So then they put you in a freezing cold cave, 8 hours. So I don't see how that's superior, but okay.
Right. He's superior how? Superior in devilishment. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, they've been running the world now for 400 years. The water's messed up.
Right. Think about it. Just 400 years. The water is fucked up. The sky is fucked up. The food supply is fucked up. GMO on food. They're trying to damn do artificial intelligence by splicing robots and damn human genes together and shit. Artificial blood to make androids and robots and shit, which they already got. All right. And the air with chemtrails, barium, aluminum, strontium. How the fuck is that superior? And superior in devilishment, That's what he's superior in his tricknology.
Destruction.
So, chaos.
So I can see why you're addicted to dopamine, God. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? Right. Hell, Kanye West showed that. We talking about he was on opiates. He said that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because of his hurt, his pain, depression and shit, whatever else. He had liposuction, he said. You know what I'm saying? So they fill you up on drugs. Hell, the word pharmacy come from the Greek word pharmacopoeia. You know what that means?
Addicted to
pharmacopoeia. You know what that means? That means sorcerers. Sorcery. This is drugs is his sorcery. So you got Negroes on drugs. You got them eating GMO food. You got them breathing in chemtrails and bacterial spores and shit. You got them drinking fluoride water. Hell yeah! You're gonna look superior. Hell yeah! But ain't no boy can fuck with me.
On the information, absolutely.
On this information. So that's what I'm saying. So superior to who?
Okay. Gaia says they're just killing their own and getting mad and killing our youth. Goddess, our youth are killing each other too. Right now, our children are the butt of the joke. Most oftentimes, the parents are stressed out, working multiple jobs, or not having enough economically. So they take it out on the children. Then the children are going outside and taking out on each other.
Yeah, but even that is an excuse because I was raised in Brooklyn, New York, Harlem, New York. All right. And I wasn't going around robbing people, ganking them for their clothes. You know what I'm saying? Or vicking niggas for their sneakers. I wasn't doing none of that. All right. So I grew up in Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? In Bed-Stuy. You know, I grew up in Williamsburg and what they now call Bushwick. I grew up in those areas. I grew up in Harlem, 129 between 5th and Lenox. So I mean, all that shit is an excuse.
Yeah, but was you know drinking a glass of lead? Because in Flint, Michigan, them babies is drinking a glass of lead.
But that's Flint, Michigan.
And that's also messing with the mental aspects of these children. So it's like they can't even put two and two together. Then they playing these games. We wasn't playing Grand Theft Auto. We would go out behind outside and play.
And well, that's the science then. I mean, once again, the TV is the largest mind control agent. So yes, they have more interference than we did. All right. You have the video games now. But even when the video games came out, we had Coleco, we had Atari, we had PlayStation, Nintendo. Yeah, we had Nintendo, PlayStation, and then
Apple. We even had Apple back then.
Right. And then we finally got Xbox. Okay.
I didn't still an excuse. It's a relevant excuse, but
I didn't want to play no damn game all damn day long. I might play that shit for half an hour to an hour, but then I went outside and played basketball. We damn ran. You know what I'm saying? We did all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? Hide and go seek. You know, hopscotch.
The brother Marukian.
You know, rode our bikes. You know what I'm saying? Did pop a willie, see who can damn pop the willies the longest. We did all of that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? We played Scully and marbles and shit. No, come on. Kids don't play these types of games no more. They don't even know what a hopscotch, you know what I'm saying, joint is. They don't know none of this. They don't know what hide and go seek is. They don't know what tag is. They don't know none of this. You know what I'm saying? Only thing they know, you know what I'm saying, is that damn game. Grand Theft Auto and all these other stupid ass mind control games that they got going on. You know what I'm saying? So we was privileged to be able to, even though we had those types of things as we got older, you know what I'm saying, in our 20s and 30s, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to play that shit. You know what I'm saying? I seen other grown ass men playing that shit all day like that was their damn job. I'm like, y'all some stupid motherfuckers. Where my damn library at? I want to read. I want to study. I want to find out about my soul. Why this preacher talking about saving my soul? And he don't even know what the fuck the soul is. Can't tell you what the soul is. Can't even tell you what the word soul mean. But yeah, he gonna try to save something that he don't even know what the fuck it is. Can't explain it to you. So I'm up in here listening to pork chop pastor ribs, and you know, and he's talking about and the Lord said, I'm gonna save your soul, and all this bullshit. And I'm like, yo, I'm looking at a so-called black congregation, black missionary board, black usher board, black congregation, black choir, and then white Jesus. I was a master at 5 of Sesame Street. So I was like, yo, one of these things just doesn't belong, kid. One of these things just doesn't belong. Fuck that shit. I knew Cracker Jesus didn't belong there. I was able to analyze that shit at 5 years old. Come on. Ain't nobody got no goddamn excuse. I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? You know, so.
Oh, damn. Somebody said the preacher and then why he's sexing your wife.
Oh, yeah, well, you know.
Reverend Pigfoot.
Yeah, Reverend Pigfoot and Hog Maul. You know, Pastor Hog Maul. You know, Reverend Rib. You know, yes, definitely.
Oh, my white Lord.
Yeah, oh my white Lord. Brother Hannibal. Shout out to Brother Hannibal.
Thank you, Darnella Wilson.
You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate your $2.
Oh, thank you, Darnella. Thank you. But it's the truth is the truth. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think Bill Cosby is getting karma for cheating on his wife?
Yes, definitely. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, me and my wife talked about that earlier today, and that's what it is.
Well, what I noticed is when I was younger, I had a negative thought about my baby father. I was just like a little upset. He was riding around with my son. Alim told me that he came and got him. He dropped him off with liquor on his breath. And my son is like 5 years old. So I was like, you know what? Dang. I want this nigga to go to jail. That nigga was locked up 3 days later for a crime he did not commit for a whole year. So I noticed back then, I mean, you have to go through stuff, unfortunately, in order to learn. So I noticed back then, I was like, dang, a female can F her baby daddy up. Then I got another experience from that with a brother who called from jail and his baby mama called on three-way. And she was like, yeah, he was riding around in a car with a female he had no business riding in the car with. And she basically was like, look, I was thinking the same thing, you know, and he went to jail for 5 months. I'm like, dang, okay, so that's powerful. Your baby mother can put you away like that. So now that we moving into a matriarchal vibration, because I was listening to, what's his name, Eddie Griffin, and he was stating that the Quaaludes and the cocaine, there's nothing to be doing that. And it was like, it's nothing to drug the shorties. Right. And I was listening to the goddesses saying they was drugged. I'm like, wow, it wasn't nothing to drug a female. It was like, you're going to do it anyway, but I want you drugged while we doing it. I like it better like that. So, you know, that's disrespectful. And while we moving into this matriarchal energy, all of that's got to go to the wayside. And that's why you see all of this manifesting.
True.
You know, my heart goes out to Bill Cosby's wife because of the ways and actions of her husband. She lost her son. She lost her daughter, and, you know, and now
and the family is in chaos, you know, because of this recent dilemma that they have gone through, the possibility of Bill Cosby going to jail for 30 years, you know, 10 years for each offense, you know, because of his actions, you know, and that's something I wish that we got to talk about, you know, and so, yes, he did some great things, you know, no doubt about it. You know, and I appreciate the great things that he have done, but best believe they took that damn star off the walk in California, Los Angeles, Hollywood, in Hollywood. They stopped production of his reruns of the Cosby Show, you know, and so forth and so on. So they stripping him of his legacy, you know what I'm saying? But yet they didn't do the same thing to
Woody Allen.
Right, Woody Allen and Polanski. Roman Polanski, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, Roman Polanski, you know, Nicki Minaj happens to have the little boy named Roman in her is after Roman Polanski, who she said takes over her. Okay. So that's some ill shit. And then come to find out her brother's a damn molester. Is a Chester, as we used to call him. All right, so these are no coincidence.
And see, a lot of Chestering been going on. It's a lot of uncles and brothers and cousins and fathers that been tipping in the little girl's room while mom ain't say nothing.
Right.
You know, so I can see why we moving into this matriarchal society. You know, because stuff is effed up. You got the water all messed up, all because the woman was like, "Okay, well, we'll manifest." Man, you can't do that debating. Y'all everywhere ain't ready for the camera. But anyway, but yeah, I'm just grateful. I'm glad that we talking about the mother, because I know she be looking at his blind behind like, you mother, you trifling. You know, that hurts. And it's like, we supposed to be so strong and take it, but the brothers can't take what they dishing.
The number came up to over 60. So
that's messed up. That's really messed up. You shouldn't have got married. You know, and in the Nation of Islam, you can't be up and big imam and you ain't married. And that protects you. I feel like I have protected Alim from a lot of shorties just trying to either give them AIDS or, you know, just trying to take them out or just trying to be deceitful, you know? So here go another question. Why do some of our people who are discovering our history tiptoe or outright deny the Moorish presence here in the Americas?
They foolish. And because SETI comes along during the debate and talk about the Moorish Science Temple, which don't have shit to do with the Moorish paradigm, except a small fraction of it, in which that Prophet Noble Ali was the first to tell us that up and down the Mississippi before the Europeans even came here, Moors was all up and down it. So Moors was all up and down the Mississippi. Now we knew that that there's at least 20,000 mounds up and down the whole Mississippi, and throughout the whole country, over 200,000 mounds. All right, in which that we talking about 180,000 of those mounds have been destroyed because of them putting the infrastructure together in the Americas. So there's only about maybe 20,000 mounds that still exist. All right, my wife and I has gone to the ones in which that has been popular and the ones in which that we have access to, because some of these mounds are on private land. All right, but the ones in which that we have gone to is the Cahokia mounds. We've gone to the Hococo mounds. We've the Moho mounds. Excuse me, let me get that right. We went to we're going to
the Serpent Mound.
The Serpent Mounds in Ohio. We're going to the Town Creek Mounds here in North Carolina. We're going to the Okeechobee Mounds in Macon, Georgia.
The Phoenix
We're going to the Phoenix
Detroit.
Mounds, right? In Detroit, in Detroit. We're going to several more mounds. The Mound City or Moundsville in Alabama. We've gone to several more mounds, but we also have gone to Mexico to the various pyramid sites. All right, we've gone to Chichén Itzá, we've gone to Uxmal, we're going to Cabal, we're going to we're going to several more of the mounds there. All right, so we've gone and done our own research as maverick archaeologists and got our own opinion from the various tour guides and the various archaeologists and anthropologists in those particular areas. All right. Matter of fact, our last tour guide was an archaeologist by trade. And we was at a mound site in which that, oh man, what's the name of it? I think it was Cabal. But we was at the site, and he specifically told us that the Mayans did not build the mounds. He said the ones who built the mounds were the Olmecs, and the Olmecs were Egyptian Nubians or Nubian Egyptians. This is what a Mayan told us. And he's Mayan. He said, and I'm Mayan. He said, but I had to tell the truth because 4 years ago, something happened. Now, this was in 2000, going into 2012. All right. So he had to have been talking about the election of President Barack Obama in 2008 is what he was talking about, because that's the only thing that happened 4 years prior to. So he said, since that's the case, he had to tell the truth, you know, because that is what took place. So he told all the Europeans who was up front, he said, I'm not talking to y'all. He said, I'm talking to them.
We was deep too,
right.
y'all.
And so
it was 19 deep.
Right. So he said, no, I'm talking to them. He said, they need to know this. He said, y'all didn't have nothing to do with this. We already know your history. This is what the mind was saying to the Europeans. He said, we already know your history. Y'all destroyed. And he said, I'm talking to them. He said, I want to tell you that me as a Mayan, I know that we didn't build this. Who built this was the Olmecs, your mothers and fathers of Western civilization. He said they was the Egyptian Nubians. And this is what he's told us. You know what I'm saying? So this is what happens when you travel. You get to know more information than just being around the corner. Okay? So, you know, this is why when people try to disrespect the Moorish information, and I got people all the way in England telling me who we are. We was at the United Grand Lodge of England, and the curator asked us specifically about, you know, how we feel about the possibilities of our first Black president. And my wife turned around and said it was more than 9 before him.
And see, we sound ignorant saying Obama is the first melanated president. It's sad.
Right.
It's like, dang, we just gonna stay dumb and ignorant.
Right.
I know love and hip hop be entertaining, but dog.
And basketball wise, but god damn.
Empire and all that other stuff.
Right.
You know, as a matter of fact, the basketball and also the video games, but God, we gotta stop. That's another thing. That's another thing that I feel like Kanye West was touching on. Like, dang, y'all was 400 deep. It's 13 slaveholders in the house and the children, supposedly with the lies we was told. Why y'all ain't come together? Like, y'all just gonna let them keep stomping your children out and making you work in the garden? Y'all ain't gonna do nothing. You know, y'all ain't gonna unify nothing. So y'all know it's a lie. It's a lie because that ain't finna happen. Melanated people already are fiery, strong. You've been hoeing all night in the garden and shoveling. You too strong for a whip. You know, I mean, it just does not make any sense. So y'all know we was being lied to. We got a couple of people that.
And we're not saying that this shit did not happen on a minor level, absolutely, but to the magnitude.
Because every time I asked my grandmother
that this shit was happening to all of us,
she was like, "No, I said I'd be buried in my grave before I be a slave." So it was a lie. But it didn't happen. But they were more diabolical.
Her grandma was 94, and she asked her, "Grandma, did you know? You knew your mother and father?" Said, "Of course." Well, did you know their mother and father?
I said, did you know your grandfather and grandmother?
Well, did you know your great grandfather and grandmother? She said yes. Now hold on. Now she was 94. Now she knew her great grandparents. Now that shit would have been around that time. Now I'm sorry, that would have been the mid 1800s. There was not slaves, and there's many families like that in the Americas. Okay, specifically here in North America. So we got lied to because of Alex Haley. Alex Haley told that lie with the Roots movie. He's the one who conjured up that shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when you seen Kunta Kinte get his foot cut off and he was running, Toby, he didn't want to be Toby no longer. He want to go back to being Kunta Kinte and he got that damn foot cut off. Niggas was like, oh shit. And y'all fell for the bait.
And then also the vaccines.
We fell for the bait
that are injected into melanated children that are not injected into anybody else.
There you go. And how you know that? Because Brother Oteem, come on, tell the story. Brother Oteem.
Well, y'all have already heard that before.
No, they ain't.
Yes, they have. No, y'all follow Alim, y'all heard it.
No, they
ain't. But if you haven't, then do the knowledge to some of the other videos. Somebody said, isn't the woman supposed to be uplifting fallen humanity?
Well, first we got to uplift the woman. That's what the portrait showed.
And trying to have 6 and 7, but you ain't. No, because one brother said,
we ain't talking about.
But is it okay to have multiple wives? Is it okay to have multiple husbands?
Right. Look, everything has to be balanced. It has to be balanced. All right. I can't tell you how to run your personal relationship. But if the woman allow for you to have multiple wives,
if your husband allow you to have multiple
hold on, and then if the woman, if you can be allowed to have, if she can be allowed to have multiple husbands, then that is y'all practicing what's called polyamory, which is something in which that is taking place right now. All right, that is being practiced. All right.
I get passionate about this, right, because I feel
but the thing is that the only reason why all of these things are taking place right now is because of the influx of the homosexuality. It has increased. So in order to help tamper that off, these are the things that has happened. Monogamy, polygamy, or polygyny, and polyamory are the things in which that is taking place because of the opposite happenings with lesbianism. And
that's what ushered it in, though. The inequalifying of women, and women sitting quietly while they brothers is tipping in the bedroom of the little girl. So I feel like the man not being in check has been the problem. And I'm not blaming him, because it's not just the brother, but I mean, even in the Nation of Islam, when you go to worship, the brothers are on the left and the sisters on the right, because the brothers can't pray unless the sisters, unless they see their hands and they slits of their eyes. We're gonna have to raise the brothers' vibration. So as long as y'all thinking y'all can have any qualified, that's the problem. Is when you balance Islam. If a woman can keep herself to herself, then y'all should be man enough, intelligent enough to keep yourself to yourself too. Period.
Well, of course.
That's nobility.
But once again, that has to be taught. Look, this is the part that we're going to get into. The science is real simple. Sex is marriage. All right. If we teach our children that sex is marriage, then they will have a greater appreciation for masculinity or manhood and femininity, womanhood. Because when you have sex, you married to that person. All right. Not arranged marriages. All right. That's been the problem. We've seen that in history, how that didn't work. We've seen how, monogamy didn't work, or polyandry or polygamy didn't work. All right. Some of these things did not work. So the science is that you have to give the children the real understanding of sex. And that's what's not going on, because sex is taken from the word six. All right. And so 6 is equality within the mathematics of the 5% nation God's nerve and of the Nation of Islam. 6 is the mathematical number for equality. So we're talking about equality. So sex is talking about intercourse, right? Male and female intercourse. That's his original definition. So this is really what we're talking about. All right. And this is what we really want to hit on tonight, with this science. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go to the next slide joint.
Okay, while you're looking for that, Jay Reed says, we keep thinking that having more than one wife was always about sex. It isn't. Well, you know what, brother? Having more than one husband, you can get a lot more done around the house.
Well, yeah.
So, and we always want to talk about polygamy, but don't want to polyandry. And polyandry existed before polygamy.
Well, I can't.
So I don't know the balance, Jay.
I can't say if it existed before. What I can say is that women dominated the planet at one time, and they still dominate our society today. There's 7% females, and there's only 6% males. All right, and so we look.
I don't believe that, because most melanated people hide.
They claim that we only make up 13%.
Most melanated people hide in the census.
That's true.
We was taught to hide in the census, so I just don't think that's an accurate number. Where are you looking at the church? At the college? It's just not. I don't believe that. The earth is going to balance itself. Like I've said before, it was 3 brothers and 1 sister in my household, and you are the only man in your household. Let's do a random selection right here on the poll. How many of y'all were in your home?
Right. Do the numbers. How many brothers? How many sisters?
Also, too, while y'all are doing that, with so many mates, do you want to have that many souls inside of you?
Exactly. And according to what we've discovered, that's not the best thing. This is the reason why we said you have to start telling your children that sex is marriage. And this would cut out all the foolishness that we're talking about even here right now. We won't have to worry about polygamy, polyandry, or monogamy per se. You know what I'm saying? Because we will have an appreciation for the sacred sciences of sex. So this is the best book to get is our Grandmaster Teacher's book, which is Sunyata Saraswati, Jewel in the Lotus, The Tantric Path to Higher Consciousness. All right, we want
if you can get the first edition, this definitely better.
Right,
but this is still good.
Right, but the third edition is on point also. So get this, all right, and you find, you know, based on what we've read, you know, what I'm saying, coming from the Bible and coming from the various scriptures, you know, they say virginity isn't a sin, celibacy isn't a sin, monogamy isn't a sin, polygamy isn't a sin, which is concubines or right-hand possessions, or polygamy isn't a sin, and polyandry isn't a sin. All right, this is what is being shown to us through the various scriptures, the Holy Bible, the Holy Quran, so forth and so on. But these are texts in which that is coming from a masculine perspective. All right, most of the books are written by the men. So here we find that because of this, the men had to begin to start practicing the sacred sciences of Tantra, Kriya Yoga, or Tantra Yoga. All right. And some Ming dynasty said Taoist sects believe that one way for men to achieve longevity and immortality is by having sex with virgins. All right. So this is where this concept comes from, of being with younger women. This is where you see this whole concept with Muhammad having sex or consummating his sex relationships with Aisha. You know what I'm saying? You know, and this is stuff in which that you have to begin to start analyzing, because this shit is in books. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have a good grasp of your own consciousness, you know what I'm saying, you'll be out there doing this type of shit. All right. Taoist sex book known as the Xuan Wei Shin, which means mental images of the mysteries and the subtleties of sexual techniques, and the Sanfeng Tai Chue, which is basically the instructions of the psychological alchemy. According to Ji Hong on the fourth dynasty, 4th century Taoist alchemists, that those seeking immortality must perfect the absolute essentials. These consist of treasuring the jinn, circulating the qi, and consuming the great medicines. Now, the great medicine is the herbs. All right, the herbs would be ginseng, dung quai for the woman, hoshu, which is known as fo tea. You know, you have guaracola, you have ginkgo biloba, you know, nowadays. But the herbal medicines in which that helps enhance longevity. The sexual arts concern the first precepts of treasuring the jinn. This is partially because the treasuring of the jinn involves sending it up into the brain. And it has to be cool energy when the energy is pushed up into the brain. In order to send the jinn into the brain, the male has to refrain from ejaculation during sex. So the Taoist teaches you how to refrain from the sexual experience. All right. And you would simply pull up your anal muscles like you're doing a day exercise. For the women, do the Kegel exercises and roll your eyes up. And you can pull the energy up the spinal column into the brain. All right. As cool energy. All right. And so according to some Taoists, if this was done, the semen would travel up the spine and nurture the brain instead of leaving the body. All right. This is that. So you will want to master this. The books that you should get is called Taoist Sexology by Stephen Chang. All right. And this is what we find, that biblically, Quranically, based on the various books, we see that masturbation, adultery, fornication, homosexuality, rape, molestation, bestiality, and etc. These are sins. All right. These are sex sins. All right.
Okay. One brother said polyandry is gross. Polygamy is gross too, brother. Women will control Mother Earth again in totality, the way that it should be. I agree. I also feel like we can do it together. It'll be more of a balance.
I was about to say it will have to be a balance, because that's the way that it was done in ancient Kemet, and that's the way in which that it was done during the indigenous and aboriginal tribes here in the Americas.
Okay, somebody said, when you have a big family, it's natural for the women to take care of the household. It's natural for the man to take care of the household too. I have a wonderful father, and Alim is a wonderful father. I just know some wonderful fathers, so it's natural for a man to do what he's supposed to do too.
Well, we can do the house thing together. You know what I'm saying? We can do the outside thing together. We can do everything together. There's no one thing that the woman has to do or the man has to do per se. All right.
One brother said it takes a village to raise a child, in my opinion. We agree with that too.
Right.
However, it's so many sick people out there because of lack of education. You got to be careful with who's around your child. And I know we have had families stay with us, and it's like with melanated people, it's like, oh, now you're gonna take care of us too. Take care of us too. We grown and you're gonna take care of us. Instead of like the Mexicans or the Boricanians, and it's like everybody is coming together in order to bring things together in order to make things easier. So instead of just taking from one set of family, instead of, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's like so much mental illness that it seemed like when people come together, it's like more important to smoke. You know, that's what it seemed like to me.
Well, that's because Negroes have a tendency of developing habits. So that because of them in their lower nature. You know what I'm saying? So in order to talk about raising yourself to a higher self, you got to first conquer your demons. You got to first conquer your lower self actions. You know what I'm saying? Your behaviors, your mores, you know, the things in which that drives you to, you know, have to depend upon something external of yourself. You have to really get to the point of where you are internalizing this information and you are able to go in and commune with the ancestors, you know what I'm saying? Tap into the Akashic records, you know what I'm saying? Or the dream world, astral light, and draw forth the information which is needed for you to bring back into the planet so that we can begin to start, you know, rectifying some of these and find a solution to some of these problems on an everyday basis. Otherwise, we're going to do what we always done as a so-called Negro people, and that's complain. All right, that's what I keep seeing. That's all we keep doing is complaining. Where's the solution? All right, where's the solution?
I have plenty of solutions. I feel like the issue is, especially with the children out here shooting each other. I feel like a lot of times if they just had $10 or $15 in their pocket, which they can make with jewelry, you can go out into the woods and find some wood or some rocks. And, you know, they're crystals. Right. There's so many crystals outside on the ground.
We give a good illustration. We knew a brother who was, we called him the Rain Man. You know what I'm saying? Because he actually would make sticks, staffs, in which that inside of the staffs, he would put seeds or some type of beads in which that when you turn it upside down, it would sound like rain coming down. You know what I'm saying? And so he did these sticks and he was selling them for $50, $75, $100 or more. You know what I'm saying? My wife, she makes jewelry. That's what she's talking about. And oftentimes she can go out into onto the land. You know, like we got nearly 30 acres of land, and you can go out there and find crystals right now, quartz crystals, smoke crystals, all types of crystals right now.
Carnelia, golly, it's so much azurite. So if y'all want to donate to helping that, because right now it's like we moved into this house and I really want to build a store.
Right. So that's the next thing. We're going to build a store on
it's going to be a 40 by 80.
Our 30
it's
acres
$20,000, and they're going to build it, and it's a 40 by 60 building. So that's what the next project is, which I'm really excited about manifesting that. Then that'll be the store. It'll also be the conference space. And then also too, because it'll be in front of the acres of land, we'll also be able to have a space over there where we'll clean the fruits and vegetables that we grow. Okay, somebody also said, if a woman has 3 husbands, when she gets pregnant, what are the others 2 to do? To help her take care of the child. Remember, we all a family.
Right. Right. It takes a village to raise a child. So that's what would be the duties of the men, is to help raise the children. You know what I'm saying?
That everybody can help.
Right, everyone can help.
If y'all family,
right,
you know?
And if it's a male, then they would take him in order to teach him how to build structures, how to mentally process, aspects of life. Like, for example, yeah, we are taught mathematics in school, but you can't really take that mathematics out into the real world. You know what I'm saying? But you can take.
Yeah, they don't teach you in public school how to apply the information that you're receiving. Right. They don't teach you how to open up. Well, I know they didn't when we were younger, right. But I think now they are moving towards that.
Right. But if you're doing bricking, but if you're doing building of a structure, then you will have to learn how to measure. Right. This is when fractions come in at. And so you will have to learn the ruler, and the matrix system in that regard. So this is the skills in which that would be taught to the child, regardless on which way that you choose to do. You're talking about if it's monogamy, if it's polygamy or polygyny, if it's polyandry, or if it's polyamory. If there's children in which that comes through any one of those forms, then that would be the way in which that child should be taught and trained. So even the Bible speaks about raise the child up properly in the way in which that it would go. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, most of the time you don't have to whoop their ass about it. Even though some of us got our ass whooped, you know what I'm saying? It made us, think about some things, analyze some things.
Polygamy makes more children though. Do we need more children, or do we need to take care of the ones that's here? Alim was adopted.
Right. I think we need to take care of the ones that here. There's millions of children that needs adoption. There's thousands and thousands of our children in particular that needs adoption. So we need to begin to start going in and getting those children and raising them so they know how to be a force of nature. You know what I'm saying? A nature.
So we don't have to be upset when the Caucasians is getting them.
Exactly.
Somebody said polygamy. No. Jay Reed says it's not in our nature to do that and watch another man. A man is territorial, not more than a woman is.
So women. You know what I'm saying? So women are very territorial.
Yeah.
So
it's like our feelings don't matter. It's just like you're supposed to just deal with it.
Right. And that's
your day is on Thursday. Right. And that's that. And that's where Bill Cosby was at. He was like, you know what? You're going to have sex with me because you up here at 2:00 in the morning laying across my bed and we drinking, but I'm going to drug you because I'd rather that drunk vagina. And that's disrespectful. Period. But for so long, it's like it don't matter what the woman say. It don't matter what you get over there and be quiet. You can't be in the pulpit. All this stagnation. Let me go in there and tip and be intimate with the 6-year-old. And that's the problem. It's the problem. Women has got to bring forth the in the balance. And if she not, then you're gonna continue to have this foolishness.
This isn't a debate between male and female. All right. The debate is with the minds of both male and female. We both been affected by what is taking place. This is post-traumatic syndrome that we're talking about. Technically, yes, many of us might not have, our family line might not have been in slavery. However, the problem is that we have been groomed into a white society, a pale society of nonsense. And we believe what they have taught us. And we see that in the movies and through television. All right. And the things that they taught us is, number one, how to hate ourselves. And how was they able to do it? Through the miseducation of the Negro. It's that simple. Carter G. Woodson said that best. And you might want to go read his book, Miseducation of a Negro and Education of a Negro. All right. In the Miseducation of a Negro, he breaks it down and say that many of us are not African Americans because many of us have never even been to Africa. And few of us, you know what I'm saying, came recently from Africa. He says this in the book. You know what I'm saying? So once we begin to start being properly educated and we get back our divine mind and begin to start analyzing these stories that have been told to us, and you take it into the next level, like we going into now. Yeah, we talked about Bill Cosby, but let's get into the higher portion of the Tantra. That's what I'm really trying to deal with right now. You know what I'm saying? So the polygamy,
but maybe we're supposed to be doing question and answer. You about to go straight into another lecture.
All of these things, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, this is all part of the same thing. Remember what the title is. The title is
true. That's true.
Right. So this is my joint that I'm trying to do so that everybody get an understanding of what is taking place here. because I'm trying to get you from the mundane into the spiritual aspect.
We still got some mundane questions though. Okay, one brother said, why you ain't answer my question?
What's the question?
You said that we are not equal. We're compliments. That's not true, because a pound of feathers is equal to a pound of bricks.
Okay.
It's still a pound. So I don't understand what you're saying.
I don't know what you're talking about, because I said that we was equal.
No, he said that we're not equal. He said that we're compliments.
No, the word sex itself comes from the number 6, which means equality or equal.
So there you go.
So like what was already said. If like we told Phil Valentine in the lecture, if you 23 pair of chromosomes from the man, 23 pair of chromosomes from the woman makes a 46 chromosome human being. No argument. You can't argue me with that science. That's what it is. So if the man have 23 chromosomes, pair of chromosomes, and if the woman have 23 pair of chromosomes, then that's the way in which that is going to make a 46 chromosome human being. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's equal. 23 chromosomes, pair of chromosomes, 23 pair of chromosomes, you know what I'm saying, is how we got your physical body into existence. Your mother and your father, 23 apiece. So if I had 23 pounds of rice and 23 pounds of flour, even though they might appear to be different because they're different, but is equal. So that's just what it is. Equality. That's equal. All right. And so we must treat each other in a equal fashion.
And that's been the problem.
Her ideas and her feelings must be looked at and also analyzed, so that you can bring the best out of you, because that's what the partnership is for. Now, if you don't want a in-depth partnership, then you continue going out there and you just sexing and doing whatever the fuck you want to do. But if you want a in-depth relationship,
then you be 90 and lonely.
Right, then you be right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Which we know plenty of 70, 80, 90-year-old women who are bitter and don't have a man, and vice versa.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, if that's the case, then, that's what's going on. But if you want an in-depth relationship with a woman, you know what I'm saying, and a woman with a man, then you have to take in consideration their feelings. You have to put yourself in their shoes, in their position. How would they feel if this happened? And you have to think in that accord with each other. And that's just what it is. If you don't want to do that, then that means that you're emotionally damaged at the solar plexus and you fucking yourself up, because eventually you yourself will end up having diabetes or some other type of illness, heart disease, congestive heart failure, or whatever the case is, because you don't want to release that love within yourself for that other person. And you're stagnating your own movements and your own happiness. You know what I'm saying? You do that. Nobody can make you happy. You stagnate your own happiness because you fear allowing yourself to love. Okay? And we can no longer do that.
Okay, let me see. Somebody said, why do our people smoke weed?
Weed has the ability to attach. THC is carbon. So that carbon attached to your carbon, which is your melanin. So it gives you the ability in order to feel a sense of euphoria. All right. Have the ability in order to make you feel, high, as they say, and this is all right in a ceremonial, event. All right. When you're doing a smoke lodge, when you do a smoke lodge, you know what I'm saying? They might pass around the peyote or the ayahuasca, or even weed, or even DMT, you know what I'm saying? Shrooms. If they pass something around, and this is oftentimes in a drink, they might even pass around Tabernacle Yabuga plant, which is 70 times more powerful than marijuana from out of West Africa, from the bark of the tree there. You know what I'm saying? From the Tabernacle plant. So if you drink a tea, 1 cup of tea of that, you will come out your body. So these type of herbs was meant for astral communication with the ancestors, not just everyday high, getting up, smoking that shit, going to bed, smoking that shit. You know what I'm saying? Without a ceremonial practice.
People do overdo it. It's like day in and day out, and nothing else is important. Food, clothing, and shelter ain't important. Just smoking,
right?
And that's addiction, and that's an issue. That's an issue. It's stagnation. It makes you lazy and insufficient. One person says, "Do you know what jackal blood is? Have you ever heard of jackal blood?"
In what context? Because the jackal, of course, is some type of dog. So dog blood. I mean, what you mean as far as jackal?
Okay, so say what you mean. Okay. Also, too, the weed has been genetically altered.
Right.
It doesn't have.
You have GMO weed, which has no seeds in it nowadays.
No seeds in it, and people acting like that's the good stuff.
Nah, that's the shit that's gonna get your ass killed.
And then also, a lot of times too, people have smoke, and then they have issues with their back, their lungs, their heart, their eyes, because the euphoric feeling that you're feeling is pulling your life force from your organs. Right. So you can feel that way.
Right. So the weed that we're talking about is weed that has seeds. All right. That's number one. If you're going to utilize it in a ceremonial manner, make sure it has seeds. If it does not have seeds, then it's GMO and you shouldn't be messing with it, period.
Remember when those people were eating people? That was because of the weed. If they legalize weed, then you know it ain't real weed, just like the food. Good point, Reginald. Yeah, it's a reason why they're trying to legalize the weed, because I seem like they want a whole drugged up country.
Nation. Right, whole drugged up nation, right. And I can't say nation per se, because it's corporation, a whole drugged up corporation.
And see, when people are younger, it's like you don't really feel it, you know? But when you get older and as you age and progress, smoking weed definitely affects your physical body. I know a lot of people who are having kidney shutdowns because of reefer, back pain, shoulder pain, but don't want to associate it with the reefer, but that's what it is. I remember we had a conference and 11 people almost died. You know, I'm like, what in the world is this? A brother brought it from California, and it was like
some hybrid shit. It was what, GD47?
Yeah, it was Granddaddy.
It
was Granddaddy Purple.
And some way.
And then
47, AK-47, and they called it GD47. Some hybrid shit. They didn't have no seeds in it.
It was two hybrids that came together to make a Frankenstein.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So this is the type of shit that they doing. You know?
Okay, somebody said they breed weed like pit bulls, splicing different strands to make stronger strains.
Exactly. And this strand was so damn strong that it was stopping people's hearts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm talking about. We have to do better. You know what I'm saying? So this is what this last portion is going to be about, is Tantra Kriya Yoga. And I'm gonna get down into it. Right. So let's get to the benefits of being able to release toxins from the body. This right here is what is called the sun salutation meditation. And you will imagine a sunrise the sun is at the eye level, and any higher the sun would be too powerful. So if you do it in the morning, you know what I'm saying, you can sit with your legs crossed or either in a chair with your feet on the floor and your palms up, you know what I'm saying? You can lean your head back slightly, inhale through your nose, and envision the sun's energy entering the body, circulating down the front of the spine, wrap it around the front of the body via the tip of the spine. Then you can exhale and envision the energy moving up the front of the body and spewing out the mouth in the form of filthy black smoke. And you repeat this 12 to 24 times, okay? And so this is how you release negative energy from the body. This is how you release toxins and poisons from the body, all right? You breathe in more of the sunlight energy and you exhale more of the toxins and poisons, what is called carbon dioxide, from out of your body, okay? So we see that the heart meridian reaches from the pinky finger on up through the inner arm. And this pose right here, which is called the bow pose, can help activate with the proper breathing exercises which is we do what's called a pranic breathing. So we do 7171 or 6363 or empty retention, in which that this can help you activate the heart meridian. You have the pericardium, which comes from the middle finger and the inside portion of the arm into the chest area, right? And so what benefits the heart? You close the right nostril, you take a breath in through your left nostril, hold your breath as long as possible, close both nostrils. And then through one half of the right nostril, you breathe out slowly. This is highly concentrated, therefore this is done only 3 times. All right? We're not going to do it here, we're just going to do it at one time.
Your screen ain't being shared, I don't think.
Oh, for real?
Mine ascension, if she greater than you, why you need 7? That make no sense.
Well, it's real simple. Men and women are obviously a split from a androgynous being. All right. If you get Black Out the Whitewash by Dr. Suzar, she said that we was once ethereal androgynous beings. And as we came down into the physical form, we split into what now become components of what is called masculine and feminine properties or bodies. Okay. And the woman was on planet Earth at least 150,000 years, according to science, before the male species. The woman was able to bring forth other women by solar-phatic energy going into her vagina. She would actually open her vaginal canal to the sun, and the sun rays came down in YX chromosome pattern, which is similar to the male chromosome patterns now. This is why we're the SON of the SUN. And so the male chromosome pattern is XY. The sun chromosome pattern is YX. So the woman was able to be impregnated through the solar-phatic energy of the sun at one time over that 150,000 years. She lost that ability. All right. Some of that ability still exists now, which is known as fibroid tumors. When they have looked and examined fibroid tumors, they've seen that fibroid tumors had hair, nails, teeth. All right. And so fibroid tumors means that the woman had the possibility or at one time of forming life in her own womb, but is no longer there. All right. She no longer had that ability. This is why the man came 150,000 years later in order to help with that process, because we split apart. It's obvious that the woman clitoris is nothing but, the man penis is nothing but a long gated clitoris or clitoris. The testes are nothing but fallen ovaries. This is where you get the fall of man from. All right. If you look under the man scrotum sac all the way down to his anus area, there is a line that like the nigga been sewn up. All right.
Jay, you used to have a vagina. You was born with one.
Right. For 6 weeks inside of your mother's womb, you were feminine in essence. Right. For 6 months. Then the woman for 6 weeks. So then between 3 to 6 weeks, the woman, the testosterone within the woman kicked in which that gave you the ability in order to transform into a male. All right. And right now the man still have a indenture, which is called a perineum, which symbolizes like where the vaginal opening would have been at. You know what I'm saying? To this very day, between his anus and scrotum sac. So I mean, these are things in which that you have to just look at the fallopian tubes of the woman is called the vas deferens, um, um, within the male. The prostate is nothing but a shrunken uterus. All right. Man has chest, but he don't necessarily have the mammal glands in order to produce the milk. All right. So these are things that you have to look at. This is just pure science. All right. What's the science called? Tell them what the science called.
What science?
The science of male and female. What they call it?
It'll come to me.
All right. So this is what we're looking at is that science. Get the book Secret of Regeneration by Hilton Hotima. Right? The Secret of Regeneration by Hilton Hotima.
I'm sorry, I was reading. I didn't even
I'm sorry.
Point.
Go ahead. What you got a question or something?
Let me see. Gaia said her mind is dormant. I believe that the woman's mind is dormant. Probably because she been disrespected and oppressed. The Caucasian has oppressed the brother, and then he come home and oppress her.
Right. And so we all messed up. All right. So we all got to stop this blaming shit and concentrate on what we need to do in order to get ourselves from out of this murky ether. You know what I'm saying? And basically what you have to do is focus on the science of breath, because that's what activates everything within you, is the science of breath. All right. That's the focus.
Okay. Here's a good question. What are the benefits of the shoulder stand in the previous slide?
All right. So let's get to that. We're talking about now the thyroid gland is for the shoulder stand. That's the thyroid gland. All right. So here the benefits for the thyroid gland. So a person who having thyroid issues normalizes the weight is through correctly balanced the metabolism. It produces thyroxine, which is very important to burn up the toxins. It breaks down and build up the tissues. It also controls calcium and sex functions. So you would sit up straight and you would take your thumb, place it over the right nostril, close it, and then take a deep breath through your left nostril, and then close your both nostrils for a few seconds, then open the right nostril halfway and let the breath out slowly. And now you will reverse the order. So it would be like this. So you can use your breath in order to heal yourself. All right. That's what happens. So you can do this alternatively for 10 to 15 times. All right. Then that activates also, then you have the liver, which goes from the big toe up along the inner the side of the leg, the back of the knee, on up into the hip, on up into the near the solar plexus area, which is on that right side. So we know that the liver has over 500 functions in your body. You take the R off the word liver and you have the word live. So the liver is the detoxifier in the body. So what you want to do is take a deep breath in and then drop your head back, and then bring your head forward, expelling the breath through your nostrils in a strong manner. You want to do this 10 to 15 times. So it was like, all right. So that's what you want to do. All right. So that's 10 to 15 times for the liver and the spleen. Here go the spleen. Here it activates this meridian, which is on the side of the foot, on up the side of the leg, on up into the chest area and near under the arm area. All right. Then you have for the lungs, the fish pose. All right. And the cobra, which are yoga postures in which it helps to activate from the lung meridian, from the thumb area up the arm into the shoulder area. And so for the lungs, how to get rid of stale air in the lungs, you close the right nostril with the right thumb, then take a full breath in through the left nostril. Close both nostrils, then expel the breath out through the mouth with a ha sound. So it's like this. All right.
You can feel yourself relax and go into the next level.
Exactly. And so this get rid of stale air in the lungs. So if a person have emphysema, asthma, bronchitis, these types of problems with the lungs, upper respiratory problems, then this can help heal that. So you would do that 10 to 15 times.
Hood Classic said, I'm pre-med at Drexel College of Medicine in Philadelphia, and I'm not buying any of this. I know you will buy that you came from a monkey. Ken told him to get the fuck out of here.
Well, yeah, exactly. If that's what you want to believe, you come from a monkey, then that's all right with me. That's you and your monkeyness. You know, that's why I often refer to Negroes in that mindset, you monkey ass niggas. All right. So monkey ass niggas, you know what I'm saying? That's what's going on. All right. Now you have the Sanjiao, which is a triple warmer, which that correlates to the ring finger on up the back of the arm up towards the neck and the ear area on up towards the eye. All right, which helps with the stomach area, and also with the small intestines, and also with the large intestines. All right, and so the exercise for this is called the strengthening the Manipura, which is the breath of fire. All right, in which that you can sit with the upright pose once again. You keep your mouth closed, but you will. And that activates all of that I just made mention of. You would do 3 sets of this 50 times. And so you can be a med student or whatever you want to be and believe that you came from a monkey because you got great A's in school, in college about that shit. All right. I don't give a fuck if you got A's or a diploma in monkeyism. All right. We here in order to raise you to godhood. That's what we're here to do.
The Flash said, the breath, Alim, is truly everything.
Exactly. You can go without food for a month or more, 40 days and 40 nights. Jesus fasted. Right? You can go without water for a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks at the most before you dehydrate or your kidneys go into failure. But you can only go about 3 to 6 minutes without the breath. You don't believe me? Stop breathing and watch me call 911 for your ass. So the most important aspect of life is the breath, right? This is why I be dealing with the science of breath, because this is the real science of sex, is breath. They tell you that sex happens in the brain, not in your genitals. It happens first in the brain, okay? So these are the sexual vitality herbs in which that a woman needs. She needs maca, tuberous, horny goatweed, damiana, don quai, and mucuna herbs. The man needs maca roots, honey goatweed, damiana, soy pimento, pygium, sarsaparilla, also a little bit of yohimbe, maybe 40, all right, ginseng. All right, so these are the women and men sexual vitality herbs that can be utilized, not Viagra. These are herbs that can do the exact same thing and even better.
Yeah.
All right. Even watermelon. All right. If you ate watermelon portion of the day, it will help do the exact same thing. All right. So, you see, dude talking about he's a medical student. Get your ass back in here now. Let's see how much medicalness that you know compared to me when it comes to the female organs and the anatomy of the body. Right. All right, so right here we see that the ovaries is equal to the testicles, which is the seed of the origin of creation, the ability to acknowledge that you create. The vas deferens and the fallopian tubes is the conscious connection between you and the potentiality you can create and how to nurture that which you desire. The uterus and the prostate is the actual house that contains the seed thought that you desire to bear into this life. This organ represents how you choose to nurture your desires. The vagina, or which is the clitoris, and the penis is the gateway to receive or release your desire. The breast and the chest represent the capacity to nurture yourself. So we find that the uterus is a muscle organ located in the center of the pelvis within the woman's body. It is quite remarkable organ, right? The uterus can expand 200 times its size to accommodate the growth of a single or multiple pregnancies. It has the capacity to contract continuously for hours to evacuate its content, which weigh up to maybe 20 pounds. The uterus is a physical representation of the conscious mind. They function in the same manner. All right. The uterus will attempt to nurture anything that it is impregnated with, even if it is significantly different from the structure of the parent. All right. This is what it's now when we get into some cloning stuff that is taking place on planet Earth. All right.
Mind ascension, we need different herbs because women have a menstruation. It's not difficult. This is not hard.
Right. It's not hard. But for some, obviously it is, even for a medical student, as you see.
Guy, I'll be laughing too.
As you see, even a medical student can't comprehend this shit. You see, this is how stupid ass doctors are. That's why you don't go to them except to get a diagnosis. Once you get the diagnosis, you take your ass back home and get the herbs that you need and heal your damn self. Okay?
But kid tried to get your mom to take black seed. Maybe you can make it in a smoothie or put it over her salad or something.
Right, right.
Or mix it in the butter if it's an oil or something like that.
Indeed. Why your joint ain't changing?
Because it's not changing.
Okay. Ain't that something? And I want you to get this. Ain't that something? All right, so the uterus is suspended within the pelvis by a group of ligaments or string, which aids in keeping all of the digestive organs in their proper place. The uterus, along with the ovaries and kidneys, contains and stores all the sexual energy. So this is why your kidneys are important, because it stores the sexual energy, along with the ovaries and the uterus within the woman. Within the male is the testes and the prostate gland. All right. So the ovaries is said to be the anatomy is destiny, because women are born to be mothers. A baby girl's ovaries are immature, small and smooth, but they contain the power necessary to create 200 to 500 eggs she will produce in her reproductive years, and a reserve of potentially 450,000 eggs. Some say as high as 1 million eggs. Many changes can occur in the menstrual cycle of the woman by practicing ovarian breathing. This is a technique that preserves the life of the ovaries and prevents the swindling of the sexual energies. Women should only ovulate and menstruate the number of times necessary to create the number of children they desire. So if a woman is only interested in having 4 children, then only about 8 to 10 menstrual periods should occur within her lifetime. She shouldn't have to bleed necessarily every single month per se. If she do, then it would be simply a spotting. All right, but this, once again, normally this works with a vegan diet. All right, not necessarily on the meat diet. So this also means that she should only ovulate 8 to 10 times within her life. So learning and practicing the ovarian breathing exercise will make this a reality for you. And basically you will study this technique a little bit later here.
Izzy Wolf says, before the male and female split, wasn't the body mostly reptilian at first? We found books that talk about the first Lemurians laying eggs.
Yes. But first we was Etherian, and then of course the reptile being the oldest creature upon the planet, we was like that, and at one time greenish hued. Matter of fact, you still see greenish hues on babies even to this day, right above their buttocks when they are born, and they have that there normally for the first few years of their life. And that's a green tint, which shows that at one time we had magnesium at the core of our blood cells instead of iron. And magnesium is what makes chlorophyll green. So at one time we had that. We no longer have a heavy supply of magnesium because the body no longer manufactures magnesium. We have to get magnesium from other sources such as green leafy vegetables and other herbs, which are green. All right. Moringa is one of the more rich land chlorophyll plants. Alfalfa, chickweed. So these are just some of the some of them. Okay.
Gaia said it's hard to go vegan without seafood here and there.
Right. Hey, I don't blame you.
You're right for your blood type.
I got you. All right.
Some halal chicken here. If you're a blood type O, your body is equipped to digest meat.
Well, you have more. You have O blood types have more gastric juices than the rest of the blood types, and higher alkalinity than the rest of the blood types. All right. So the most acidic blood group is B. Next would be AB, and then A. All right, and then of course O, which is more highly alkaline. Their alkalinity is like 7.35. All right. B and AB is near 7 and lower, a little lower. So, like for example, if you drinking Kangen water, which is like 8.5 to 9.5, then the O blood type can do that. But B blood type and AB blood type can't drink the Kangen water like that. The water has to be more towards the 7 or lower than 7.35 in alkalinity. All right, going towards more of the towards the acidic scale. All right, or pH balance, as they say, power hydrogen. That's what pH means, power hydrogen. Okay.
And we've seen some vegetarians going blind and even have heart attacks.
Right.
You know, not getting enough protein and being starchitarians, because a lot of vegetarians are eating a lot of potatoes. And if you're blood type O, you're not supposed to be eating potatoes and different things like that.
Right.
So better if you're blood type O to eat meat than potatoes, because potatoes are poisonous to your system. It makes your blood sluggish. It causes poor circulation.
Right. Right. But once again, get Peter D'Amato book, How to Eat Right for the Blood Types. Right. Get his book or his diet book.
Reginald, we've been working on our vision too. I know I've had glasses ever since I was 10 years old. So it's like having a neck brace on for those years. And eventually your neck will be so weak that you can't hold up your head.
Right.
And all it was when I was 10, I needed a colon cleanse.
Right.
You know, so saffron is really good for healing the eyes, which we've been drinking that tea.
Right.
And then also too doing eye exercises, like going to the left, the right, up and down, here. Like doing the clock and then going back. And then also too iodine. Some of the food that we're eating is being genetically altered, and
so it doesn't have iodine
out of your body. A lot of people will have salt that has the statement that says this salt does not contain the necessary element iodine,
nutrient of iodine.
Nutrient,
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they took it out of the salt. So iodine even is not even in table salt. All right, that's why it's poisonous. All right, too much of it give you high blood pressure, whatever the case is. You have to have sea salt or pink Himalayan salt, you know what I'm saying? Some type of salt in which that has iodine in it. If not, you have to have some type of supplement that puts iodine back in it so that your thyroid gland, which makes thyroxine, which helps with burning off tissue, breaking down tissues and burning off fat. All right, that happens by way of your metabolism, which is through your thyroid glands, which is right in your throat area. All right. So as my wife said, saffron is good, eye bright is good, yellow dock is good for the eyes, golden seal is good for the eyes. So these are the herbs in which that you would need to start taking on a daily basis. You can make eye drops, so you make it into a tea and then get a dropper and start putting 2 drops in your eyes, several times a day.
Also too, we found another herb in our yard and it was called Gala, and that's also supposed to be good for your eyes too. It looked like guaracola, but it wasn't. It had many names too. Let me see if I can find.
All right.
Achi also. Let me see. Have you ever heard of a fruitarian?
Yes. Dr. Layla Africa is a fruitarian. I've been a fruitarian. I've been a vegan. I've been a vegetarian. I've been a omnivorous. I've been a breatharian. I've tried it all. All right. The best science is actually being able to fast at least once to 2 days out the week. So it gives you time to give your body, your immune system time to rebuild itself. All right.
Reginald, I put in what did I put in? I knew it looked like guaracola. So I said guaracola lookalikes, and then a whole little list came up, and then I was able to deduce it from there by the flower. Yeah. What about the dandelion root? Those blossom every spring in people's yard.
Right. Yes. And you take the leaves off and you take the roots. But for the leaves, you can wash them and put it in your salad or juice them. You know what I'm saying? You can take...
or you can take the flowers and put it into oil.
Right. Or you can take the dandelion root and use that in a substitute for coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dandelion has all 12 nutritive cell salts in it. Yep. And Jay, you're right. They act like that's a weed.
Right.
When really it's food.
Right. It has all 12 nutritive blood salt, muscle salts, and blood salt. What is it? Muscle salts, blood salt, and nutritive cell salts in it. So it has all 12. So you're talking about silica. You're talking about iron phosphate. You're talking about potassium phosphate, sodium phosphate, magnesium phosphate. So we're talking about these 12, and it has all of this within. These are the 12, similar to the 12 disciples. These 12 salts help to activate and keep the 12 pericranial nerves in your brain activated, as well as also your nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, along also with your digestive system, all right, functioning properly. So dandelion is a very powerful plant, not a weed.
Jay said, I fast because my wife doesn't like to cook for us, seriously, and he crying. Jay, why you don't get in there and cook? If y'all hungry, cook.
Well, bro, Jay, we can send you a copy of one of our goddesses who do raw vegan food, and you can put something together for yourself, bro. Okay.
A sandwich, something with some spelt bread, something, bro.
Yeah.
Some easy stuff. Go back to the cereals and stuff.
Yeah, I mean almond butter, something on that spelt bread, bro. Almond butter or something, get some hummus, you know what I'm saying? Hummus.
Yeah, that's easy too.
Right.
And then spiral you some zucchini.
Right.
And then throw the hummus on there.
Exactly.
5 minutes.
Right. Something, bro. Oh shit. Get you some kelp noodles. You know what I'm saying?
You can take 5 minutes, Jay, to make you something to eat. Talking about I do cook, but I pay all the bills and have my own business.
Okay, I got you. So yeah,
she just around there doing nothing. No wonder you trying to get another wife.
All right.
Yeah, hummus is good.
Yeah, hummus is good, bro. All right.
Yeah. I stuck to oranges and rice when I had the flu. I got over it in a week.
Yeah, that's true, because them oranges knock it out. But that's the time when you actually take oranges and citrus fruits, is when you actually have a cold. Other than that, O blood types can't take it.
Yeah, oranges will make your stomach hurt when you're not sick.
Right. Exactly. All right. Any more questions before I continue on?
Yes, a lot of questions.
Oh, okay.
These are some older questions that were up at the top. I want to get everybody's questions. Maisha, she said, yes. Why does SETI not use Dr. Ben's quotes about honoring the Moors?
Because they defeat his agenda. You know what I'm saying? He's still trying to hold on to the shit that me and him debated about 10 years ago. And the problem is that that shit that he was saying has been defeated over and over again. That's why we gave the video, Canaan Land Moors, basically the defeat of Seti and young Pharaoh by the Moors. If you want to know, that basically is the title. Just go and look up Canaan Land Moors. And this video was so good. It's done by brother Sheldon L. And this video was so good I mean, I think we watched it probably about maybe 4 times.
Yeah, and we've been sharing it like crazy.
Yeah,
because it's just really, really good.
Yeah, and he tells you where he got the information from. So you'll see my picture on the end of the video. You see Roz Mariah Bey,
shout out to everybody.
Brother Taj, Hakeem Bey, Brother Asir, the Duke of Tears. So we are the primary brothers and sisters who are putting this information out about the Moors. So it's like them trying to defeat us, you know, when it comes to information that we're using. By understand that SETI teacher was no different than my teacher, because my teacher was also Dr. Ben. All right. But I knew that Dr. Ben had a PhD in Moorish history, and he had to flip that into becoming an Egyptologist, because there was no Egyptology degrees, okay, in the 50s. All right. There was no Egyptology degrees in the 50s. So how did he flip that? Through his Moorish history degree. So this is why in his book, Cultural Genocides, he states that Moors was one of the most respected and renowned names that we was called by the early Europeans and Asians with honor. All right. But yeah, he going to bypass that because that's not his agenda. Because he'd rather be a Negro, black, and colored and not have a nationality. If you go and watch the video with him and Brother Mook, Brother Mook asked him, said, brother, no, what's your nationality? He said, I don't have a nationality, but I know I need one. That right there destroy that shit. Who the fuck would listen to him? If you a reasonable, rational, analytical person, there's no way I will listen to him after he just made that statement on camera.
Dr. Layla Africa said it best. He's like, most of these people is on drugs.
Right.
You know, Dr. Layla Africa, y'all know he is so funny. He don't be playing. Now, he hired the crackheads, but he ain't one. So that's the problem. That's the problem. You got people who are on substance abuse and they don't need to be in front of the camera.
Right. They need to be sitting their asses down somewhere.
Listening.
Right. Right.
Somebody says, I noticed that I don't have heartburn when I eat fruit. That you probably are. Thank you so much, Jay. Good night.
Thanks, Jay.
You probably are a blood type A. And blood type A people, they find themselves trying to like knock their meat down their chest. It gets stuck in their throat.
Right.
Also, too, they just can't digest it. They don't have the enzymes in their stomach to do so. So
right.
That could be, you could be a blood type O.
Right.
I mean A.
Right. A has the least amount of blood of gastric juices of the blood types. Matter of fact, A's are to be vegetarians. So yes, if you are A blood type, then that's the reason why you feel best with just a fruit or a vegetable diet, and you probably would just want to stick to that more so than having to deal with the meat. Okay.
Why does SETI hate NOI so much when Dr. Ben gave his library to the NOI?
Exactly.
A side effect of cocaine is anger, outbursts of anger.
As Dave Chappelle said, cocaine is a hell of a drug. For Rick James.
Yeah,
for Rick James. You know what I'm saying? Even Rick James has a shit. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Shit.
He even had to say it.
You know what I'm
saying?
Then
Eddie Murphy said he stuck his shoes
Charlie
in
Murphy.
the couch. Yeah. His shoes in the
Took
couch.
his black boot shoes and said, I'm gonna fuck up your couch, Eddie. Oh shit. Fucking up your couch, your white couch, Eddie, with my black boots.
That's that cocaine.
Right. Shit, that's a hell of a drug, nigga. Hell of a drug.
So yeah, you definitely got to go and watch it. It was on point. The Canaan Land Moors. Also, somebody said, how do they get connected with the Canada cipher? Just type in Canaan Land.
Right, mm-hmm. Canaan Land, CANAANLAND, Canaan Land Moors, MOORS, Canaan Land Moors, and you can go to their latest video. Well, I won't say the latest because damn, they done did.
They be putting in the work.
Yeah, they did a couple more, but the one
brothers.
The one that you want to see is probably the two where they got SETI name and Young Pharaoh name in the title.
How did the so-called whites gain power over everyone?
Through technology, as we went over earlier.
And probably infighting.
Right. There was infights among us. They came in, took advantage of it, and basically played us between both sides. So they would go to one tribe and say, oh, yeah, they don't like you, blah, 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 and so forth and so on. Then they would go to the other tribe, say the same thing. Remember, they was doing missionary work. Their missionary work was to divide and conquer. So after they did that throughout the whole country, I mean, damn, shit. You know what I'm saying? You had some tribes that fell for it, and you have other tribes that said, fuck that shit. We ain't falling for that, And those that didn't fall for it, you can look up in history how powerful they were. Look up the Yamasee wars. Look up the Yamasee wars. Look up the Seminole wars. Look up the Gullah wars. These wars was right here on the East Coast in the South area. You know what I'm saying? And we beat the European at their own games. You know what I'm saying? And these are the wars that they don't want to tell you about. These are the tribes that beat them over a 250-year period. Okay, over a 250-year period, we beat them. You know what I'm saying? So this is just what we're talking about here.
Somebody said it seems like it's good that SETI arouses the ignorance, and then they can be led to the adept so they can get the understanding.
Hey, sound good to me. You know what I'm saying? I agree. I agree. I totally agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Just like Pastor Ray Higgins, he couldn't take them into metaphysics. So he took them to, there's no white Jesus, and he took them to where he can take them to. And then they come and start studying me, Brother Bobby Hammett, Phil Valentine, Taj. I see the Duke of Tears, Brother Azariah, Brother Panic. And then shit, we lead them to the occult, the metaphysics, the esoteric sciences, along with the history, information, you know what I'm saying? Because we know just as much history as any PhD. Hell, most of my friends are PhDs, you know what I'm saying? And lawyers, you know what I'm saying? And hell, they ask me questions. You know what I'm saying? Because this isn't about, it's not about, ego. This is about, trying to get this information out to our people. You know what I'm saying? I have a doctorate in metaphysics, not an honorary doctorate, but an actual doctorate in metaphysics. So that's my field. That's been my field now since 2011 when I received my my doctorate. All right. So this is why I teach the way that I teach, because these is based on the teachers that I've had. I was at Dr. Ben's house at 15 years old in his library. Okay. I was at my good friends. All right. Bobby Hammett is the one who told me that I need to be teaching. Right. I talk to Baba Phil Valentine on a regular basis. We hang out when me and my wife go to New York. We hang out with Brother Azariah. Okay. When we go down to Atlanta, we hang out and stay at the house of Brother Panic. Okay. And his divine wife, Khadijah. All right. So these are our friends. This is the group of people that I roll with, that I'm around. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we're talking about, is trying to get you the best information. We're trying to carry on the legacy of the, Dr. Deborah Blair. You know what I'm saying? We was with him prior to him passing, learning various breathing techniques, which he only taught to a small group of people who stayed, and we went over these breathing techniques. Okay. I was trained in the conspiracy theories by Baba Phil Valentine, as well as also Baba Steve Coakley.
Yeah, and when we go to Florida, we try to see Baba all the time.
Exactly. We go to Florida. Shoot, we went to Baba's house and interviewed him for our Blow documentary that we got planned on still coming out.
Yeah, still manifesting.
You know what I'm saying? Still manifesting. So these are the people that I hang around, that I know. We have a brother who been a lawyer for 40 years, who told me just 2 months ago that I was his teacher. And he's 75 years old. And he said, because of the information that I've learned from you, you know what I'm saying? I know he's not quite 75. He's about something like about your mom and dad age. So he's about 71 years old. All right. So he told me that because of the information which that we've put out, he said he have learned so much. He said when he started coming to our classes, he said he never even been to a class with that much information and knowledge before.
Right.
But he knew it was true because his insides told him, his gut told him. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to give y'all the best and the most accurate information possible. We don't know every single thing. However, what we do know, we know because we've studied it. All right? And we have lived it. We've experienced it. Yeah. All right? And we love y'all enough so that we can get this information out to y'all, you know what I'm saying, with a passion.
Especially
with sincerity.
Alim is thorough. You know, he really deserves to be in front of the camera. Not so much me, you know, because people who have contradictions honestly don't need to be teaching, you know? But that's just what it is. Aisha, peace goddess.
Peace.
She said, so why is it such a push on elevating the emotions of melanated people?
Well, because the emotional body is what brings us into the light body, right? The emotions and the mental body are connected, all right? For example, the astral body is actually the emotional body, also referred to as the desired body.
Also, too, it shuts down anger, frustration. That's why they're showing all the killings and stuff like that.
Right.
They hype all of that.
Right.
It shuts down your immune system. One moment of anger shuts down your immune system for 6 hours.
Right.
And also stagnates you. Right. It makes you discombobulated and can't think your way out of the situation, which is what we're seeing now.
Exactly. And that's what's going on. You give them enough panic and fear and frustration. You know what I'm saying? You can't think yourself out of this box. They don't want you to think yourself out of this because they want you to continually be their slaves, their perpetual slaves, their consumer market or consumer people, right? Only thing they want you to do is be consumed. They want you to consume. You need to consume their movies, you need to consume their newspapers, you need to consume all these types of things so that you can stay in a state of fear. This is what this whole thing is based on. This is psychological warfare 101. Okay, this is mentalsize. All right. Brother Wright said that the best in his psychological book of racial psychological book. If you get that book by Brother Wright, he talks about that. Or the book by ISIS Papers by Dr. Francis Quest Welsing, or Racial Confrontations by Dr. Nellie Fuller. They talk about these types of things. Even Dr. Amos Wilson in African Psychology for Children in that book. So, I mean, these are books that you need to have in your library in which that helps explain the mentality. And these are psychologists and psychiatrists in which that during the 80s and the 90s putting this information together for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is where you have Umar Johnson who using their information. And a lot of people believe that this is new information, but this is information that's been out since the 70s and the 80s. Jawanza Kujufu did Destruction of Black Boys, Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys, volume 1, 2, 3. All right. So
and that's the problem too. You got these cats coming out here and they eco tripping and shaking their little baubles at the top of their head and they acting like they didn't came up with it. And you're not giving back credence back to the elders. That's disrespectful.
Right. This is why I always tell you where I got my information from. I tell you the people, the name of the books.
You got to do that.
You know what I'm saying?
That's plagiarism if you don't.
Because that is appreciation for them bringing this information out. You don't hear me saying, well, I'm saying, or I'm this, or I'm that. You don't hear me doing none of that.
Talking in third person.
You know what I'm saying?
Alim, brother Alim don't be playing.
You know what I'm saying?
Kadira don't be playing.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Come on,
talking
man.
In third person.
You know what I'm saying? You know, you great because you can hold a conversation in your head and then relay that to the people. You know what I'm saying? No, you great because you're able to give credence back to the people in which that brought you thus far, because those are your ancestors, right? In order to continue being a force for the ancestors, you give them acknowledgement, all right? So I don't have to pour libations. I do the whole fucking lecture based on me giving the information out from them and telling you where I get it from.
So,
right.
Constantly crossing over my pineal gland.
Right. So I don't have to damn go do, like
a 6-hour libation.
Right. A 6-hour Bobby. Right. Shouts out to Bobby with the God Bobby. But I don't have to do that because my libations is coming from the fact of me mentioning my ancestors through my lectures, and that you need to go and check them out and visit their works. Okay. And so when you do that, guess what? They make you stay in the game a long time without the scandals and shit. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this shit for 25 years. All right. Actually, I've been teaching since 1988. In 1995, Brother Bobby told me that I need to be on the circuit. So I got on the circuit from then. So here it is. All right. Almost 2020. And I started on video in 1995. You know what I'm saying? Officially down in Atlanta teaching, but even though I was already teaching since 88. So we talking about actually 30 years, technically. All right, from 88 until now, 2018 of teaching.
Somebody said, Seti and Pharaoh be outright lying sometimes, misleading the love in the hip-hop generation who don't read but only watch social media.
Exactly. That's the point. And that's what they're doing. And this is why you have to begin to start. This is why I tell you the books so that you can go get the same books and read it. You don't have to depend upon me. Go and get the books yourself. Notice that they don't never give you the books. Notice that. You know what I'm saying?
Young Pharaoh about to do a Brother Polite. He about to diss the conscious community and be calling them nigglets in a minute.
And if they
try to expand to the Orientals and the Caucasian genres, so we about to watch that history repeat itself. Bill Valentine in the 80s said America only goes to war with countries that don't have central banks.
Right.
This
is the same thing that is going on now with Syria. Why they bombing Syria? Because Syria has not allowed for the Rothschilds bank to come into their system. And so they one of the last banks in order to stop that from happening. So now they have to go and bomb Syria because they're trying to make sure that they can go in and cause that to happen. So that after the bombing, they'll remove the present regime, and then they'll go and put in the fake regime, de facto regime, and who would do their bidding and be the puppets, you know what I'm saying, for them. That's what's going on. That's what's going on.
They said there's only 3 left: Syria, Cuba, Iran, and
that's it.
And North Korea.
Well, yeah. Well, and notice
that's 4.
And notice 4, right? And notice that these are
they already did Syria.
They already did Syria.
Okay.
So yeah, there's only 3, right? So right, Cuba.
Good point, Reginald.
Right. So this is the science. All right, name them again.
Reginald Williams says Syria, Cuba,
Iran, and North Korea. So notice that these are all the countries that they keep talking about going in and getting. Notice that.
How is our brother Bobby Hemmett doing?
Bobby is healing. He's in South Carolina with his brother Michael, and healing and trying to get back right. He said after he make a 100% recovery, which he already had a reading in which that he say he will, he'll be back on the circuit telling you some more shit.
I am so glad when you had your capilloma that you bounced back, God. I don't know what I would have did. Whew. Them herbs, man. Cayenne pepper, yo. For real. Shouts out to cayenne pepper. Let me see. We love you too, Sister Aisha. Appreciate you.
No doubt. So we getting ready to get on up off of here in a minute because we
wait a minute.
On this joint for
Reginald said Ray Hagen.
We doing a panic number tonight.
Reginald says panic. I'm not panic. Shouts out to panic.
No doubt.
Says Ray Hagen is Alpha Phi Alpha. He's in a Greek fraternity,
right?
And also he is in the Fraternal Order of Police.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, because honestly, the conscious community is just very accepting.
Right.
You know, and it's like just anybody that just jump up there. That boy who lets his baby touch his wet penis. That boy just jumped up there, and the conscious community gave him $200,000, and we done found him on Pornhub, and he getting in the huckabuck with the Caucasian, they role playing. So, I mean, we just very open. What must occur on the earth where the degenerates was created throughout perhaps a pole shift? Is that what happened? That's what made the degenerates here?
No, that isn't what
grafting.
Right. That isn't what made them, but that is what helped give them the opening so that the genes can be tampered with, was because of a pole shift that occurred after the last ice age about 8,000 years ago. And it was through a drafting process along with animal enzymes and different animal parts in which that came about. And it was incubated in a albino Nubian woman, and which that brought forth what we now refer to as the Albion or European population. So we know that the genes had to be tampered with because people are melanated no matter what climate that you go into. If you go to Alaska, right, the Eskimos are still brown skin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Brown and yellow skin. They have not they have not lost their melanin after being there for hundreds and thousands of years. All right. So that has not happened. So we know that is a fallacy, and people who promote that just isn't seeing that properly. The fact is that the European correlated their history to being about 6,000 years ago in the present state that they're in correlates directly with Elijah Muhammad. Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the Black Man's Message to a Black Man and Theology of Time says and states specifically that from the black man came the brown man, the red man, the yellow man, and then from the yellow man, the white man. All right. So it was said of a drafting process. Okay. So I'm gonna leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a whole damn nother lecture, which I will do probably pretty soon.
But Ray Hagan got exposed when he lied on Michael Brown.
Right.
May he rest in peace.
Right. Could we know people who actually knew Mike Brown?
Yeah. I hear this question and I have it genuinely, and but in the same respect, where are the Moorish ships, as well as the ships that transferred white slaves by Moors?
Mm-hmm.
Can we see them today?
Well, actually, there's replicas of ships, but every ship that they claim that's a replica, they claim it as a slave ship. All right, in which if you go and do your research, there's only about maybe 4 that they really talk about that has been reconstructed or refurbished, but they all call them slave ships. They won't say that they were just carrier ships. They won't say that what type of if there was European Albion slaves on them. They won't, which is Irish mostly, because the Brits, we know that they release their Irish prisoners and Scottish prisoners from out of Britain. The British Moors did that under King George III and Charlotte Sophia Stuart, who is known Queen Charlotte, where we get Charlotte, North Carolina from. She was a Mecklenburg. This we get Mecklenburg County from, but that was also her last name. And she was part of this, allegedly part of the Stuart family in some regard, but of course it goes back even further than that. So this is also what verifies the fact that King James Stuart was also a melanated man, as we find that that King George III was also melanated. This is the British Moors. They was part of the Yorkshire Moors, but they don't want to talk about these things. So when we talking about these ships, that are replicas, what I'm saying, this is what it says. So we can't verify per se which ones were Moorish ships or which ones were just simply slave ships. So, this is the problem that is taking place. But still, the question remains, because you know the Europeans, all right, and his mentality, all right. Our mentality isn't
they preserve everything.
Right.
A haunted house.
Right. Our mentality is not to preserve legacies of destruction. All right. I'm sorry. You can't find that nowhere in history that we preserve legacies of destruction. So this is why you don't find no Moorish ships and all this other stuff from us per se.
Shafiq said the Chevy Corvette is named after the Corsa Moorish pirate ship.
Exactly. So think about it. The European, his mind state is to preserve everything. He opened museums so you can go and look at these types of things. You know, they found Viking ships intact. They found a 3,500-year-old ship from out of Egypt intact. You know what I'm saying? Which they you know, so we talking about 35-year-old ships. We talking about Viking ships from 1,000 years ago, and we talking about, well, not even full 1,000 years, but about 700 years ago. So we're talking about ships, and we know we talking about Europeans now, just from a ship from 150 years ago. You know what I'm saying? 1865 is when he said was the last slave ship recorded. All right. So you don't even have the last ship. Wait, hold up. Now I can understand if you didn't have the first ship, which is good ship Jesus. Would you claim, 20 slaves came on in 1619 or earlier? You know what I'm saying? Because supposedly Sir John Holy Hawkins supposedly came in 1555 with that ship, his ship Jesus. So okay, let's say you don't have the first ship, but goddamn, you don't have the last ship that is recorded in 1865 as a relic or a remnants, so that you can say to so-called black folks that you claim that you got all from Africa, look, this is the ship that we bought your asses on. Look, oh, go try these chains. Check these chains out. Come on, Jamal, check them out.
Your baby bringing home a field trip seat.
Right. They imagine your son bringing home a field trip slip. You know what I'm saying? Mama, we going to the replica slave ship today. Let's go. And they go and they see the chains. Come here, Jamal. Let me put that chain on you. See how that fit. Oh, that's a perfect fit for your little ass. Come on now. You know the European would love to do that type of shit. Only thing you got to do, just think about his mentality. Come on. You asking me about a damn Moorish shit. Shit, I want to know about the European. I already know what we would do. Okay? We don't keep that type of shit. That's why we don't have museums per se. Okay? We don't think about that type of thing on a massive scale. We do the shit, we love it, we move on. That's what you can see with jazz. You can see that with hip hop. We design it, we love it, we do it for a time period, and we move on and do something else. All right? So that's our nature. And you can see that within us. But goddamn it, if you can't see that in the European, then shit, there's a struggle in your mentality then, because I know damn well I can see it in his ass. It ain't no way possible. You know what I'm saying? I know.
Field trip to
exactly.
The cotton picking field.
Exactly. Hell, take him to the cotton field. Shit. Let him experience. You need your cotton pick today on master? Shit, they go talk like them.
They did take us to the cotton field, y'all.
That's what I'm saying.
I remember that.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay. Brother Reginald said they had cameras back then during the Atlantic slave trade. They even had pictures of slaves being auctioned.
Right.
So where are the pictures of the slave ships?
Right. They have pictures of the slaves on the auction block, just like they do today.
The postcards.
Right. On the postcards. But they do that still today when you go and see the drafts for the NBA and the drafts for the damn football league. Them niggas are being auctioned off right then and there. All right. Except now they making millions of dollars. Okay? But they still being auctioned. Okay, so the same shit still going on today.
The Washita Moors, Mours, and the Moors, Moors. Are they the same?
Yeah, the Sagamores or the Washita, they are the Lenape, they are the Choctaw, they are the Algonquin speaking families, which exist from the south on up the east coast into the north. All right, they was Algonquin all the way up into the Micmac, into Canada, is Nova Scotia. We spoke Algonquin, all right, which is a mixture of Hebrew, Arabic, and Mandan, which is the language of the Olmecs. All right. So this is what we have. This is our legacy. All right. So this is what we're dealing with. So we are the Sagamores, Mours, and we do have heritage from the Moors. We are one and the same people in that regard. All right. Because there were Abu Bakari came here who was Moors from out of Mali, Nigeria, Niger, into the west, all the way out into Ghana. And they had, which was actually known as the Malian Ghana Empire, all right, later to be called the Moroccan Empire, which is said to us by John Henry Clark in his book Columbus and the African Holocaust. All right. So
is this information Abu in your Bakari, first book?
Yes, is in the book. Abu Bakari II, who was the uncle of Mansa Musa, he was Mansa Abu Bakari II, and he had 2,000 ships made. All right, which was large enough to even carry over elephants. This is why you find elephants in Nevada and Arizona. All right. So just because we brought elephants over, all right. So we came from out of Africa and we mixed in with our brothers and sisters who was the Olmecs, who was already here over 5,000 years ago. We mixed in with the Fossums, who was already in Arizona area, Nevada area, who've been there over 75,000 years ago. And we mixed in with the Washita. The Moors mixed in with the Washita, who've been here for over 100,000 years ago. So this is how we have Moorish Moor heritage, as well as the Sagamore Mour heritage, as we are the Aboriginal indigenous people also of this land. And also the fact is that when you look up indigenous based on United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, and you look up the United Nations definition on indigenous people, it states that those who have a historical continuity here prior to the invasion of their territory by the Europeans, as well as those who came here not on their own will, involuntary, who freed themselves and wish to be reattached to the culture they've been torn. So this includes those who have the American legacy heritage, which is more than 85% of our heritage, as well as those who came here from Africa 400 years ago, over the last 400 years, all right, who came here and mixed in with us, all right, and therefore from that mixing, you have us being called now African Americans. But if you was 85% of the American population at that time, and then you had 15% to come here, you know what I'm saying, and mix in, then that would be American African. As we know that during the turn of the 1960s into the 70s, we was called American Negroes. So American was before Negro. Okay. Then by 1988, we became African American, where American now becomes secondary. But in 1960s and going into the 1970s, we was American Negroes. Right? So America was before Negro. You see? So this is what we're talking about, is the balance of rationale that has to come back, and us declaring nationality, which is a must, so that we won't be reclassified by them any longer as Negro, Black, and colored, and taken out of our out of our Aboriginal indigenous state. Right? All right, I ain't doing no more questions now. It's time to go. It's 12 o'clock.
Okay, baby. You said no more now.
All right.
Well, y'all, I'm yawning and
exactly. All right.
And we appreciate y'all.
Definitely.
I guess we'll see y'all next Wednesday.
Yeah, we got 143 viewers, so we appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? 144. That's my number right there. 144. Okay. Word. All right. So we're gonna say we love y'all. What's the saying that we're supposed to be saying as we do the our intro, our extra joint, outro joint. Come on, what's the saying?
Oh yeah.
Our outro joint. We had the intro joint, which was the music. Now we're going to do the outro joint. All right.
Bringing you the truth that makes sense of the world peace. Right.
We are bringing you the truth that makes sense. That's what we do have. All right. That's what we do have. All right. We are bringing you the truth. All right, that's what we do know. We know that we bringing you the truth. Shit, that's what we do know. We bringing your ass the truth. All right, that's what we are doing. We bring you the damn truth. That's what we do know. All right, but we bringing you the truth to make sense of the madness in this world. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what we do know that we doing. All right, and so we're going to go out with our outro song here. Let's hear it and check it out right quick. You got to do like everybody else. The outro song.
We're going to need something a little boom. What's that? Okay, this is a little something for you to go to sleep to. It's going to get better. Peace, y'all. We appreciate y'all.
Hold up. Just hold it. All right. That's too slow for you. All right, so let's see which ones y'all like. Y'all tell us which one is going to be hype enough for us.
Okay.
We're gonna
come on. Oh, I like that.
You looking for the light? Here it is. The Children of the Night. God damn it. The melanin bringing the light.
Oh yeah. Deshaun knew that thing. Okay, what else you got?
Sure, I don't want to put this one down. Woo, that's what I'm talking about. All right. We got another one for you. Let's hear this one. What about this one? What happened?
This actually is when Jupiter is the closest to the planet, so it's like everybody on the planet is more pleasant. So I can see why people don't want to let go of Christmas. Our ancestors let's
go to great.
Used to celebrate. So our people be trying to find a reason to do a barbecue, okay? So don't go too hard into your people because they be off of work, you know what I mean? So don't go too hard on them. But it says, yeah.
All right, let's try. Hey, this last one.
Okay, I like number 2.
So that's what we're gonna go out with, y'all. Woo!
I like number 2.
That's it, right? All right, we're gonna go out with the Children of the Night. That's our joint, y'all.
Peace, y'all. Peace and love. We appreciate y'all ears. Well, we're gonna help them learn to love themselves a little better, guys. You know, I'm telling you, we've been indoctrinated. You know?
Oh, but we're gonna break that shit.
We see ourselves as the epitome of beauty. Then.
We're gonna break it. The Children of the Night. You know what I'm saying? We're looking for the light. And we're gonna get this shit right.
Okay. Tonight.
You know what I mean? That's right.
I see you still on that bullshit. Okay.
That's your opinion.
He talking to somebody else.
Oh.
At Nat Turner.
Oh.
Nat Turner feeling defeated, and I remember those days, you know. He said, fuck peace, it's time for war.
All right, well, get your gun and go and start clapping then.
Well, that's the problem. Our children out here clapping too much. Right. They're clapping so hard at each other.
Clapping on each other instead of on who's supposed to be getting it. Right?
Nat Turner the Gap burner.
Yeah, Nat Turner the Gap burner, the YouTube scroller.
Peace, y'all.
We got to do better, y'all.
We'll see y'all later. Much love. We appreciate y'all so much on the support on the website. Just love and truth and
Let's
peace.
just say violence beget violence.
Yeah, violence begets violence, Nat.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, where you coming from, that is the lower version of the truth.
Right. If we master ourselves, we wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But see, nobody want to dedicate themselves to mastery of self. They just want to complain and call the white man the devil. We got to go beyond that.
Well, see, that's if you tell people to go out killing, that's what they're gonna do, Nat. That's what they already doing. Look in Chicago.
Yeah.
Izzy said, get some graveyard dirt and some sage and go to work.
Oh, that's some spiritual stuff right there.
But we can't be going to work on each other.
Right.
We've been doing that in the past too. We can't do that. Appreciate y'all. I'm just gonna wait for everybody to leave out their seat. Ooh. Well, don't forget, Nat Turner, that the Caucasian devil originated from the black devil, the melanated devil. So that's just what it is. Oh, that's that big old pretty kids. Thank you, Gaia.
That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the light. I ain't looking for the fight. I'm looking for the light.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to get this shit right.
Okay, I like that. Peace.